morning, y'all. Happy Sunday. It's May 4th, 2025. I like to just throw that out there just because, like when I listen to reads and stuff on YouTube or whatever, I definitely, it's just kind of nice to know when the read came out. Of course, reads are timeless. Spiritual energy is eternal. It's forever, right? And it's a never ending. It's like that 8 sign, it's the infinity. And so it always happens the way it happens, when it happens, But at the same time, if we're trying to get insight on current, it's like weather. It's good to document when a storm hits, right? But it's very useful if somebody could get you warning ahead of the storm, right? And so it's kind of like that, that's how a farmer thinks, right? You want to know what was happening with the weather at certain times. Like this morning, I went out, we actually experienced some really light frost, and I've been talking about, fucking end of winter, right? Well, around here you can't be deceived because it's been spring since February, and I haven't seen it freeze here in quite some time. It's been pretty warm, waking up, a lot of rain. And so this morning I woke up and there was a light frost, but some sensitive plants, like you might have been able to get some zucchini going out there, or like some cucumbers or beans or something, and have them with the cloth, and like maybe just thought, well, winter's coming to an end, right? Like I was thinking, and just didn't pull that cloth last night because it was warm. And sure enough, the plants would have got hit by that little freeze, And so if I would have checked the weather, it probably would have said we had a chance of frost, And I didn't. And but now I know, if I kept a journal of that, I write that down, I can go back to my journal, like say, hey, on the morning of May 4th, 2025, I woke up and there's a light frost out here, and so I could remember to keep those things covered until we know for a fact that that's the last frost date, because we haven't passed our last frost date today, And so same goes with spirituality. Like even though a read is timeless, it still is reading the weather and the energy of today. It's reading the planetary energy of today and what's going on with Most High and the celestial orbs and the energies that are higher than us. That's all happening right now. And so the perfect alignment that is today, right, that we all woke up to, is only going to happen once today. But it is definitely a reflection of what spiritual energies could be in the future, and so it's good to know how to recognize those energies. And that's kind of like the divination. If anything, we're just like forecasters of the spiritual weather, and so divine just kind of keeps us informed a little bit. We're like the equipment that they use down at the weather place where the weatherman gets his stuff, we detect all that shit, so we can kind of predict a little bit, like, yeah, it's gonna probably rain, it's gonna be cloudy today, it's gonna be a little rainy tomorrow, and it's gonna clear up and all that shit, right? We can predict that last frost with a chance of it. And so that makes us very useful tools, and all of us have access to that information, just like all of us can predict the weather, especially if we're living in an agrarian way or in a way that keeps us really close to these frequencies, like the physical earth frequencies of weather, and or the metaphysical frequencies of spirit, which is what we're doing here with the tarot and the divination, the coins and stuff, And so, anyways, morning, I'm Shesh no way, and here we are. It's another beautiful day, right? And I'm the Off-Grid Oracle, and so I'm here to share my messages that that God shares with me, because we have a very intimate connection. I have an extremely intimate connection with the divine, and my space right now is it's a very clean space. It's clear space. It's an open space. I've been in a time of isolation and purification. And Spirit's been working with me. I've been working with them, and we've been working well together. I haven't had any people around me, and I haven't. I've been eating really clean foods. It's only meat that I've raised and killed myself, and whole grains. And root crops and greens, wild greens from out here, some cabbage, carrots. And so I got my space really clean, I've been abstaining, in abstinence of sexual activity, and that's been good for me. It's been a clearing space for my own self, and it's brought forth a lot of healing, It's not bragging right, nor is it a recommendation. It's just simply what it is, and I feel that it's opened up my ability to really have some good communication with Spirit right now. that's not clouded, And so Spirit asked me today to kind of share a little bit about the roots of my name, Shesh Shesh Nach Noeh, because it's of course not a language that's spoken here on earth. It's a celestial language, and it's an ancient language. It's spoken by the tongue of God. And God revealed my name to me a long time ago, many years ago. At this point, I was I would have been coming right into my Saturn return, as a matter of fact, and so I was, because that was when I was 28, and so, to give away my ancient age, get lying to y'all about my age, but that was some time ago, and so that would have been 19 years ago, a long time ago, and so I that child, at the time he just turned 2 and everything, and I was in a real pivotal change in my life. God was blessing me, and prior to that stage of my life, I had made a lot of poor choices. I had a real rough background, real upbringing that was really rough. I started going to jail real young, did a lot of time in jail, had a lot of problems, a lot of struggles with addiction. I owned it, a lot of it at the time as ego, because that's how the world kind of treats individuals like me. But it was trauma, and I had a really, really difficult upbringing as a child. I got a lot of hands put on me, man. Not sexually, but like, physically, like, I got shit kicked out of me a lot, and all the way up until about the time I was, 40, to be honest, 36. And so at that time of my life, I moved, I transitioned. Spirit was trying to really get me out of a bad environment that would have killed me. I would have been dead. I was well on my way. They were unaliving me. I was in a Masonic community, and unaware of me, that guy had been sold into that community by my mother, And with me, it was about energy harvesting. They didn't want to like sexually molest me or anything like that or hurt me, And I didn't have nothing to do with them, but I just didn't realize that by signing that contract, they had access to me and access my energy and stuff. And it took me a long time to learn about that. That's a story for another day. But Most High had taken me out of that community I was in up there in Oregon and delivered me here to Humboldt, on a big storm. It's one of the last big storms I've seen, We had a huge storm come in those years, And put swaths of trees down. There's big 140-acre flats my brother harvested out there as a logger and stuff that were completely blown down, just like God just slapped the mountain with his hand, just these big, huge, just slapped, he said, laid trees down like they do with them crop circles, But so Spirit brought me down here, on the, with temptation, of course, with the lure, with the lure of happiness in relationship, right? Fulfillment in a relationship or whatever, But at that time, I was real damaged goods, man. I didn't really believe that anybody loved me. I had a hard time. I didn't love myself. I really didn't. I was willing to. I really had a poor conception of the Jesus deal. Like the Jesus syndrome or Jesus concept. Of fuck it. Like I could die for everybody. Make everything better or whatever. But that was just self-pity, right? And so Spirit took me out of a community that had me drowning in that, and they delivered me here where I was in on my own, and I was out of a community where my family lived in for a long, long time. We've been there for like 200 years up in Oregon. That's kind of rare here in the States. We're frontiersmen, we're homesteaders. My family came across on the Oregon Trail, and so as deeply seated, I was related to everybody up there, and a lot of sickness up in there. A lot of secrets, a lot of darkness, a lot of murder, a lot of crazy stuff, right? A lot of addiction, And it was consuming me, And so I came down here to start a new life, and I've always practiced with the. I've always been a shaman, Like when you're shamanic, you're born shamanic. When you're born with that gift, it's a gift that's very powerful in you, and you know it, And it doesn't ever. It doesn't ever make anything easy growing up, honestly. It's something that you have to really learn to trust, because everybody tells you not to trust it, right? And so I developed a real keen relationship with the native fungi out here, with the native species of the mushrooms that we have, because in the northwest, we're a real predominant region for psilocybin mushrooms. And so I we have one of the most potent species of psilocybin mushrooms out here that grows up in Oregon on the coast up there in Astoria, you know. It's all been exploited now, you know. But when I first started going out there, nobody go. You go out there, in the dunes, you know, dunes be completely to yourself, right? And so they're a storm spirit, you know. The mushrooms, they come in on heavy winter storms. When it gets cold, the wind really blows, you know. First time I found them real fat, you know, I was out there, it was blowing 80 miles an hour plus. I was leaning into the wind and hold me up, right? And snow, you know, it was another one of them big storms, you know. And so I moved down here and I already had that practice in place. Then it rattled my cage, you know, a couple times, which was good, you know, but not in playways, right? You know, because I was doing it with friends, family, you know, or whatever, kind of a little bit. I had my own experiences alone for sure, you know, but I was very young. And so it was probably deceptive of ego. I would say, I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is. If you ever try to go on the shamanic journey, you know, to truly understand where you really get to sit down with Most High and ask them questions, you know, like a little bit of a down, like it's like a scheduled visit, you know, with Most High, and you can sit down and they really are willing. They're like, okay, man, you got 20 minutes, talk, you know, right? And they'll answer whatever you ask them, right? And so I've been trying to get better about understanding that wasn't a plaything, you know, as a real tool. And so when I got down here, I got serious about it, you know, and I got to the point, you know, with my in my healing process, because that's what it's about with the shaman, you know. And when you do extreme steps, you know, like what I've done, you know, with those with the intensity of the dose, you know, and I've gone in places they say don't go, right? And I did. I went in places that most people don't. You know, God took me on a journey, right? And so in that journey, you know, God gave me a vision, and in the vision, God took me inside, you know, and they showed me that the depths of what's inside of me, you know, that they took me to the deepest waters, you know, and to the farthest extent of my internal expansion, right? And they showed me the beginning of time. And they showed me that in the beginning of time, you know, everything was water, and all you could hear was water, you know, and the sounds of gnashing teeth, right? And in that vision, you know, Spirit showed me myself as I was when I was Leviathan, you know. And they showed to me that Leviathan didn't control darkness, that the darkness controlled Leviathan, you know. And then what Spirit showed me was, at the same time that they showed Leviathan as a spirit, right? Spirit showed me as Leviathan what it felt like to consume the Christ energy, you know. And they showed me that how that weakness, you know, so pure, so powerful, was in both of those hearts, right? And that they were doing the same work, you know, that God does, right? And I loved and feared them both, you know. That's what God showed me. After that, God showed me the journey from, you know, from embryo, you know, from the very spark to death, right? Of all of mankind, you know, of all of civilization, of everything, you know, of all of eternity, of everything they've done, you know. Like God showed me that, you know, and then they took me on a journey through the waters, and they set me down on the dunes, you know. That's it. And that's when they said to me, They said that you're our child. Shush, shush, shush. No, no, no way. And I never heard them call me that before, no. They showed me that a lot of people, in this world, that become that Leviathan, and it's even them people that are in the name of Spirit Christ, right? Because they put me on the dunes there, and I was in a cage. It was like you see in the movies now, it's like one of them cages, right? That they put around the forts and stuff, with the sticks, and they got them sharp sticks on top, right? And the walls are like really tall. And like, yeah, well, wheels all in there, It's like, it made me really sad, Like, I was scared for everything, man. I was scared for everybody, and like, then God, He called my name again, Shesh, no way, and He lifted me up, right? And He took me, and He put me on the beach, And I was there. I was there with my feminine. And I was there with our divine baby, man. And we were walking on that beach, And then them walls are still around us, but then them walls, like, they turn into water, water on the one side where the ocean was, and they were mountains on the other side, And the water that was on the ocean side was like a tsunami. And it was really big, And it kept getting bigger. And it was loud, It was really loud. And it was all there, and it was all the way around us, right? And God told me that we were going to see lots of things. I was going to see lots of things, And all I could see was my baby's feet, and the feet of my divine feminine, my divine masculine, my divine being, my soulmate, my partner, And it's insane, right? They're walking with me, their feet were walking with me, man. And God had lots of things on the beach. There's all this, like dead stuff on the beach, but it didn't stink, And that water, it kept rising up and higher, And then God says, yes, He said to me, He says, I know you, and you don't fear in these waters, that, And I remember, because I remember, but God, Father God, that you promised me that you won't ever destroy us all again with water, that we're safe, right? And Father God told me that says that you are, says you are. It says who you love is, and you need to make that a priority, right? Because it's going to change. Things are going to change, And He said to me that it's the old ways that will survive, And that's why they call me Shesh, no way, He says that they showed me them secrets, about how it's supposed to be. Because I'm just like them mushrooms that I was sharing my time with, And they told me that, like them mushrooms, most people are afraid of them, They're afraid to even put a mushroom in their mouth if they picked out grass like that. They think they're going to die or something, But even if they did die, who gives a fuck, right? They're going to just be with God Most High always, man. Come back as a mushroom, The way shit is nowadays, I'd rather be a mushroom, right? And so Most High tells me these things that I know, because Most High knows that most of these individuals out here that choose to be blind, that built them walls, that we was all caged in, because them walls was built by somebody, right? And we built a lot of walls around ourselves. That's also what Most High was telling me, So Um, I was working in my garden at the time. I was growing vegetables. I was selling them at the farmer's market. I had my own little stand, right? And so I was working in the garden. I was digging in the garden. And I found this stone out there, You can see this stone. It's really, really, really formed, It's been really, really worn down. It's been really, really used. It was buried in the ground, right? It was about 10 to 12 inches down in the ground. I dug it up. And rotilling, you can actually see there's a little mark on the rotiller. I don't know if you can see that. But this rock was used for acorns. It was used to grind acorns. Because out here, these people they consumed acorns and fish, right? Where I was living at the time, I was down here in a real little witch's hovel, man. So Eureka, real dark place, a lot of dark history there, And they got a fort out there. And I was living actually on the same ground where the fort used to be. I was living right. It's a community now. Now it's a whole neighborhood, It's like a little part of Eureka. It's south part of Eureka, And so there's houses and stuff all around it. But the old fort's still there. It's like a museum and stuff. And I was like about 2-3 blocks down from there. It's like a draw, It's my house is kind of on the edge of town. Like there's a little draw and everything. So I had a big backyard, big expansive backyard, And I was reading about history. And a book came out, really interesting, a good book. There's like one book and then another book came out. These guys wrote a book. It was about stories. It was telling two people's, in one place. And it was a great book. It told the history from both sides, the indigenous people and then from the side of the people that came out here, the settlers, And in that story, they were saying that there at Fort Humboldt, it was the only fort in the nation that was built actually to defend Native people because these people out here were serial killers. A lot of the old Indian killers from the wars and stuff and mountain men and stuff like that. And buffalo killers and shit. They came out here and hid because this place stayed real wild right at the end. Up until like a long time, it still is very wild. A lot of crazy stuff happens out here for that reason. It's still a very isolated place, very isolated region. They didn't even discover the coast out here by road until 1895, and so that's pretty wild. And so the people out here were just massacring the native populations, like just brutally, like the guy, this valley that I live right here, I won't even say his name on here on the internet, but I don't want to speak his name at all because I don't want to speak about that spirit because I banished that spirit from here, and it's not going to come back, but that spirit was an atrocious thing. It was a real devil, demon. And so that Fort Humboldt, because we had the newspaper, the printing press had really gotten real big. Newspapers are real common now. It was like there's real rapid news spread from the East Coast to the West Coast there, and everybody's aware, And if we're coming into an era where everybody's getting civilized or settled down, and so everybody wasn't an Indian killer no more like that, And so the rich people were starting to get all high and mighty because they're like, we don't kill you. And it's like, well, yeah, y'all did. You killed them all, motherfuckers. You live in some soft environment and shit where you don't have to worry about it, And so, they got uppity, right? They got righteous. But, I mean, unfortunately, that's the way they all fucking play their mind control shit. Yeah, I agree with them, but they're the demons that started it. They hired these demons that were out here in the first place. Then they don't need them no more, so they put them off in some place they don't got to look at them. They're like, oh, you're doing atrocious things. Well, yeah, they're your demon. I mean, that's like what we're doing, And so that Fort Humboldt, because of the bad publicity about the Indian killing that they were doing out here, the rich socialites are like, oh, that's horrible. We're not like that in America, And it's like, fuck you, you lying motherfuckers. Yeah, they always have been, But so they decided they got on the government about, oh, you got to go save these people that you've been killing now. You massacred all of them, and so now, you got to go save them. So they built Fort Humboldt in this attempt to keep the native population safe from the colonizers out here, And that wasn't really what they were doing with the other forts. They were doing those forts to protect the colonizers and kill the natives, right? And so their approach to that was they built Fort Humboldt there in Eureka, and outside of the fort, a little bit outside of the fort, they built these round pins, right? And they built them out of timbers, sharpened on the top like a fort, And they were round pins with 10-foot tall walls, and that's where they were able, when they were saving the native population, because the individuals out here were just doing atrocious things, massacring them and enslaving them. They were enslaved, And a lot of those people that the fort, they enslaved them too. That's just bullshit. That's like they're doing it nowadays, Like it was human trafficking all the way, fucking 1,000%, Not that the native populations out here were innocent either, because they were also human traffickers. There's a massive slave trade out here. Prior to whites settling here, that was one of the predominant things that they did. They're slave traders out here. You know, it's of course a different deal, but a lot of people don't understand how slavery was done. The Bible's riddled with it, right? But anyways, these round pins, they were that's what they were. They were just round pins open like you would do for a pig. They didn't even give them a place to cover, right? No cover or nothing. And so they shoved everybody in there, concentration camp and shit. And then and the atrocities happened in there, you know. But this stone comes from there. And I was there at the time that it happened, you know. That's past life experience that God showed me, right? And that's how God has explained to me that these are my ancestral grounds, you know. And so when they gave me my name, you know, they taught me by what name to speak to them. When I called them in that name, they answered me always, you know, guaranteed. They know me by that name. They don't know me by my name. My Christian name is Abram Stark, you know, and God knows what that means, but they don't like the way that sounds. It's instead of a song, it's a fart, you know, and they want to hear shish or shish no way, because that's who and what I am, you know. And so it defines me in my spirit, and my spirit is she who whispers loudly with a sharp tongue, you know, because I speak the word of God, but I speak the word of God from that dark place where nobody hears me, you know. My words come out muffled and as whispers, you know, because I'm speaking onto I have been speaking onto people and onto spiritual energies that have been deciding to be deaf and mute, you know. And so it's not that they can't hear me, but it's just that they'd rather not, you know. And so that's why they call me that, you know. That's why they call me by my name, you know. Shesh or shesh, no way. They call me she because in my spiritual essence, I am an empress, you know. I'm a divine feminine, and so, but that's the only way God sees me, you know. It's like I choose how I want to manifest on earth here to do the work that I choose to do, you know. But I'm an empress of God, you know. I mean that's a high priestess, you know. That's a divine energy, and so I'm blessed with that, you know. But that's why God showed me what God showed me. I had to see the journey that it took for me to be that, you know, because as that empress in that pin, you know. I watched my whole family get massacred. I mean, shit, man. Enslaved, you know. They took everything that we know. They killed the fish. The fish are like our totem, you know. Man, I mean, but today they're telling me that that was a long time ago, you know, and I've had to relive that here in this transit. You know, this has been a real powerful transit for me now, and they're really sharing with me my whole timeline. And that's what they did, you know. And I don't tell that story to nobody. I not like that, you know. I don't. It's not even the whole story, you know. It just scratches the surface, and it just sounds confusing, right? And so, because it's such a personal experience, it's my timeline, it's my experience since the very moment that God created everything, you know. Because that's when I was created too, you know. And when I was in the depths of myself in that moment, and you know, not dead but fully alive, God showed me these secrets, man. They showed me how they created everything, and God created everything the same way you do. That's why we're the mirror image of God, but we forgot that, man. And so, I hope that message means something to somebody. It means everything to me, because when I went to work in my garden, you know, not just but a couple days later, right? The same garden I was sitting in was a round pen that held my ancestors, where I had to watch them die. Those walls were gone, you know. They were removed. They were not there. They were gone for a really long time. But stones don't lie. They last forever, right? And so what God replaced them walls with now is that wall of water and that mountain. And that water's never going to go over the top of that mountain. You know, God promised me that, you know. But God told me I have to value and cherish the things that are of the Most High, you know. I have to know how to cherish the, you know, the emotional, the physical, and the spirit, right? I have to place above all else, the gifts that Most High gives us, right? Without exchange of currency, but exchange of love and connection, frequency. And so God's going to raise them waters, in a way that protects us, protects me, protects you, protects we, right? Because we bad. We all been through this, We all got a story that we know is the truth deeply, that even our tongues could never, all of us are share, no way, because it's impossible to share that with everybody, They'll never understand it, only you and God. And that's what it is, man. That's what it's all about. And so, and that's why I cry embarrassingly like a child, like a baby when stuff touching me, but I don't give a fuck, I'm the best motherfucker I know out there, and so anybody wants to come whoop my ass for crying, you go ahead and try it. God won't let them come near me. Spirit Most High, thank you so damn much for the vision that you give me. Thank you so much for the messages that you give me. Thank you so much for the power that you give me, because in my weakness I found strength, when you put me in your fire, I passed the test, and I just came out stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. I didn't burn up, You put me in your crucible and you let that motherfucker soak and burn and heat up and go as long as it could. You took it well above the temperature, and I never went away, man. You can't make me go away like that, I don't burn up in the fire, you know that, right, Lord? That's why you send me spirits, the strong spirits, they take my bullshit. And everybody out here, I in particular, really appreciate the messages that they deliver to us, because it makes me a very powerful, very strong individual to know what's coming ahead of me, Just like with my fields out here, you forewarn me with the weather, you also forewarn me with the spirit. I appreciate that. The time spent in your forge is the best time of my life, man. A lot of people are afraid of that. They think it's going to be pain and suffering, because they're scared they're going to burn up. They're scared they can't take the blows off your hammer, man. But every time you hit me, the only thing you did was you knocked something out of me that didn't serve my higher purpose, and you made me even stronger bond with the ions that are inside of me, man. You brought the metals that are in me together, Without you, I never could have dropped out of solution. Without you, I could never be what and who and what I am. I would not have that double-edged sword that you put in my mouth that has deliverance in it of your most highest truth. And that's a blessing to be Most High Spirit. I love you, God. And so, to return that favor, man, I promise to you and I vow to you that I'll always be your sword. I'll always be your weapon. I won't use that weapon for my own gain or for my own unrighteous purposes. I won't use that sword to flaunt or defend my ego or to give me power and control over others, Lord Spirit. All I ask is that you give me power and control over me through yourself. Amen. If you watch the last two reads, of course, a lot of times in my cards, that King of Pentacles energy comes out strong. It's hard not for me to read it in some of my own personal energies. Apologize for that. I try to keep it neutral the best I can, but Most High speaking to me too, I got some good support here, Last message I put out there, I had some likes, some comments that were real supportive, I really appreciate that. The individuals who put that out there, I really do. That's how we encourage each other. It's hard to be a voice of truth out here in this world today, because you do come out with a whisper, And so hopefully God's got me in a position where I'm prepared and I'm strong enough and I'm pure enough that I can't be altered and fucked with or used against y'all, And so I can deliver some messages that are pure truth. I'm not going to be in emotionally manipulated situations or anything like that. That's going to draw out karmic energies. I'm going to stay grounded in truth. That and the energies that come out that are associated with me are of higher loves. They're divine connections that I share with those individuals, regardless of where they are at in their lives. And so this is what it is. I don't fuck around with the karmic shit. I don't fuck around really. Good spirit. Man, you set this shit up there or what? We'll talk about something later. I want to keep talking about that thing. want people to well, so over here by the sun, it's like right in between the sun and the earth, you know, and so it's fire and earth energies, right? And we got the rainbow novelty coin, but it's sitting on top of, again, tells you lose. So that's not good. Yeah, see, they're sitting there like this, right? That's rainbow novelty, and then it tells you lose, right? So it tells you lose, that's fantasy flesh coin, and that fantasy flesh coin, it tells you lose, shows the ass into that motherfucker, right? And so that means that with that rainbow novelty, man, I mean, somebody's trying to think that they maybe might be opposite sex or something, I don't know. I don't think they know. That puts them in between this air and this fire, you know, like them people are bisexual or something, I don't know, maybe. We can hope not. Not that I'm against people and how they're gonna learn their lessons or everything, but there's a lot of lessons that are easier to learn certain ways, man. God Most High has certain order within their universe, within their kingdom, and that's evident. You know, it's obvious. There's a masculine, there's a feminine, and they both serve their purpose, especially in the physical, right? Two men can't make a baby. Okay, well, that's why it says rainbow novelty, you know. It doesn't say rainbow solid forever, right? It says rainbow novelty. It says it's experimentation. That's what people do with that. They experiment with their sexuality, but there's only one sexuality. I've experimented with drugs, and there's only one drug that needs to be done out there anyhow, and that's God, man. And with anything that God provides us naturally, and that's what we know is the truth, right? And so, amen. I mean, I love my cannabis. That's not a drug. That's fucking a plant. That's a seed-bearing herb, as it says in the Bible. That's for us to use, and it's medicine. And it has a dionysus plant or whatever. It has both male and female, right? And so if you want to make seed for your next generation of cannabis, you got to have a male and you got to have a female. And you got to have a divine male and you got to have a divine female if you want to be smoking divine grass. That's the way it works, man. Straight up. And so, see this one right here, right? Okay, so this is the military that I was talking about right here just now about my vision, right? Because this is an old brass button from an old military uniform that I dug up out here on this property. Because this property also has some ancient history that's recorded to that stuff, that, you know, is associated with that stuff, but then it goes into the Chinese. Humboldt has real dark history, you know? And so they had a Chinese internment camp out here with slaves on it, which a lot of them was natives too, because that's what they did. That's how they built these roads out here and shit, man. Slave traders, man, all of them, you know? Don't believe a word you're being told. This is them. This is who Trump lies for. This is who Trump's trying to hold up, man. Murdering, lying, cheating, stealing, child raping bastards, man. Horrible people. The man in this valley was named after carried a hatchet to every party he went to because he bragged about how that hatchet took the lives of 65 indigenous babies, man. Those are my ancestors. Pisses me the fuck off. Right? We're talking about in spirit here, you know? I'm not trying to claim nothing here in blood. I'm not ever going to claim nothing here in blood because everything here is not real. It's the fake, you know? It's the only things that inside of me that are true, right? And I know everything inside of me that's true because God showed me my deepest depths. I'm shesh. No way. All right? And so, that's them old militaries right there showing up because I was talking about them. Them spirits are out here, you know? Fuck you guys. Not welcome. They're like dirty dogs now, man. I already ran most of them out of here. They got some little shits that fucking kind of hide out, hang around, but fucking fuck them, man. That's why me and little guy, I'm teaching him how to kill mice, you know, and he's getting good at it, yeah. And so anyhow, but that also with this energy over here, see that battle worn coin, right? That battle worn button right there, you know. It's an eagle, right? Because it's a military brass button. It's air energy, right? But it's over here by the moon with this coin right here at the hole in it. That's right there underneath the moon. And that's the intuition. That's the water. That's my water coin, right? and it says consumer tax. It says consumers tax 11 check Oklahoma, right? And so somebody's emotions, it's getting taxed. It's getting taxed on their intuition, right? Something's in their intuition that's taxing their emotions, because that's why they're embattled over here with this button sitting by the moon. Because a courtesy parking, that's this coin right here, is a courtesy parking coin. And so that courtesy parking coin came out right there. And so they got their shit right now in their head parked over here by this moon in their emotion, in their intuition. They don't know. They don't know what the fuck they want to think about with shit right now, because they're over here thinking about stuff that is going to be a little bit corrupt on their higher cause, maybe possibly. They can't decide what to do, right? Because with that fantasy flesh and coin and that rainbow shit right there, you know, or whatever, that could be anything. That could be these people out here, they're trying to be polyamorous. It doesn't have to be gays in general. It just has to be any of these people out here that are trying to be sexual deviants, man. And we don't roll like that, you know? We don't do that shit. And if we try to, because we're divine, it's going to catch us up in that embattled situation there where we can't trust our intuition and stuff. We're going to be stuck in our intuition and everything, and not able to trust ourselves, because we're going to be courtesy parked in our head, because God's going to be telling you that that's not right. That energy is not going to feel good. But if you keep operating in that energy, then you're going to attract other energies into your own energy that are going to cause you trouble. And that's why them energies don't feel good, you know? And so Most High is just trying to tell you with that right there, that courtesy parking your ass, like Most High is going to take and park your ass for you in your emotion and your intuition where you can't trust it, you know? That's what Most High is going to do. They're going to sit you down, you know? And in a way where you're going to feel really alone, because when they sit you down like that, where you're embattled with your emotions, that means Most High ain't gonna tell you how to handle this situation. You gotta figure it the fuck out. They don't like these lines you try to cross, right? And so I know personally, in my process of growth, in my evolution, you know, that I've been in this energy. I've embattled these. Well, I mean, not like, well, no, I guess not. I mean, yeah, because I was just I didn't respect myself sexually, you know. It's not that I was ever, I've always been a child of God, you know, so I've never been confused about how it works here in the physical. But sometimes, you know, it's like King David too, you know, it's like you just make choices sexually that are the same difference, really, you know, that are still abomination in the eyes of God. You know, there's certain things that you just don't do, you know, certain ways that you just don't behave. Anything that can come off somewhat predatorial or allowing yourself to be preyed upon, those are also ways that can devalue yourself in the same manner. I mean, in the Bible it talks about sodomites, right? And so sodomy is really simply just penetration without the purpose of pregnancy. And so that kind of like really starts to make it a gray area, you know. And so that's kind of where I've been a little bit careful here lately with my sexual relations. It's not that I got like, oh, I gotta be celibate or nothing. Not at all. You know, God's beautiful earth is propagated through sex. So hey, but just having sex with random people or people you don't know or people that you don't love, and let them into your energy and stuff like that, or just too quickly. I mean, it takes time. You need to get to know somebody, and then when you do start to have a sexual relationship with somebody, you don't throw it out there and thinking you got to experiment with it. You know, you need to keep it real, right? And try to move that energy up, but enjoy that energy with each other, you know? And see, this coin didn't come out right now. I missed that. My deck was sitting on it, and I missed it when I picked up my other coins here earlier. But that's that ancestor coin. That just tells me they're still hanging out there. That's why you are all alone over here like this, you know? This is a decision that you have to make inside your head. You know the right choice. You know what you want. But you're being stubborn about it, you know? That's why that button comes out. And that's just an old beat up button, but it's embattled, you know? It's like you're really fighting it. You're fighting outdated ways of thinking, you know? You're fighting old things maybe that were taught to you, you know? Beliefs that aren't necessarily your own, kind of. Even, you know, and that's how this culture is. This culture's got a lot of people thinking that stuff like this, even, you know. I mean, we got a lot of people out here, yeah, that are even going as far as really mutilating their bodies and stuff, and that's sad. That's horrible, you know. And so, anyways, let's talk about. Let's see what you want to talk about, Spirit. Let me get my coffee. Let me get my coffee. Sorry, guys. Maybe some air in here. I should check the fucking straws in here. Yeah, it was chilly this morning. Yeah, I had a good fire last night, though. I woke up and it was kind of still warm in the house. And I saw white on the pots and stuff out there. I thought it was just dew, you know, went out and looked. Not sure enough, it was a little blanket of frost. So here we go. Good morning, Spirit. Damn near afternoon now, huh? So, you know, what I was thinking, I'm gonna do a little different here. I'm gonna pull some of these real quick. We'll see. So what I'm gonna do here, this is just a poker deck, but it's a plant deck. You know, look, when I split it though, got 3 of wands and 10 of cups. 3 of wands, 10 of cups. You know, they keep coming out. Those energies keep coming out. You know, it's like a big energy right now, but it's like an energy that says, basically, you know, with that three of wands, is that, you know, your ships are coming in. You know, so it's not, you're not trying to decide, I guess. You know, and you know, I mean, unfortunately, maybe for somebody out there, that 3 of wands could also be, you know, a third party. It could be third party, you know, or it could be a collaboration. It could be 2 people coming out and a third party being cut out, because the 3 of wands is energy where the person standing there, they got 1 wand to their side, but then the 1 wand is behind them and the 1 wand is their hands, you know. And that could be good energy for somebody, you know. And so, or it could be that somebody's meddling in the background, kind of like trying to get you to do something that would cause you to lose 1 wand, one of your wands, you know. And that's kind of what we talk about, because we talk about coming out of that 2 of wands energy into that 3 of wands, you know. Because the 2 of wands energy is this individual here that's between the sun and the earth, you know. So they're between that passion energy and the grounded earth energy of trying to decide what direction they want to go with their passions, you know. And so with that rainbow novelty in the reverse, you know, and then the tells you lose tells me that whatever choice that they're thinking that's alternative of the choice that they've already made is most likely not the one that's going to make them happy, you know. And so we have we got 6 wands, right? And it's blackberry, and it's it's blackberry, and it was in reverse. And so today we're in the energy of the 6 wands in the reverse, you know. And so these cards here, it's poker card, you know. And so if you look, like the 6 is on it. 1 6 is upright, the other 6 is upside down. But with this one on this deck, when I use it, the word berry, it came out up in the reverse, right? And so what that tells me is that that card, it could go one way or the other, and that's how a blackberry really is, you know, if you think about it, right? Because a blackberry, you can either get the berry or you can get thorns, right? Absolutely. And so the fact that came out in the reverse tells me there's a fire sign, because it's a wands, which is fire energy. You know, the clubs are fire energy. They're equivalent to the wands, you know. And so there's some fire energy out here that's being presented to you, that's tempting you to make a choice, right? That you're having a hard time making over here, that's got you courtesy parked in your emotion and your intuition, trying to figure it out. But this fire sign, you're not going to get the fruit off of it. You're going to get the thorns. That's why it came out in reverse, right? And see, this one here on the bottom of the deck, qualitative, I never even heard of that. But either way, that's the Ace of Swords. And so that's the sword of truth, you know? So that means whatever fire energy that you're thinking about doing right now is, look, koala teddy bear, man. This is the truth. This is the sword of truth. This blackberry right here, you are gonna get the thorns if you fuck with this blackberry right here. That is the truth. And that is a fire sign. Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And you're not gonna like it at all. Would you like to cuddle up with that guy right there? That koala or cholla teddy bear. Oh, cholla cactus. I know exactly about the cholla cactus. You can't even walk near the cholla cactus. Them little things on there, those little white things on there, they jump off of there when you walk by it. It feels the vibrations in your feet. You walk by it, they jump off there, and they latch onto you, and they're horrible. My dog, I went to Arizona one time, as far as I've been away from the Northwest, and it's as far as I need to go. My dog got attacked by these things, man. And so I'm telling you right now, if you mess with this 6 of Wands right here, you're gonna get fucked up. That's that. There's just no question about that. And that's the individual that's tempted you to make this decision. See, that's 2 swords. And so you got a decision to make. And this decision is revolving around this rainbow novelty coin, which is your questioning your sexuality. That's why you have 2 swords in your hands and you need to cut through the truth. You can't see the truth. You can't decide in yourself. That's why you're stuck in your emotion over here underneath this moon. And that 2 swords energy, which is air, and so you're up in your head. You don't know what to do right now. You're being tempted, You're being tempted by this fire sign right here. And that's what it is. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're being tempted by this blackberry. And you think that this got sweet fruit on it, but it ain't going to give you nothing but a tangle of thorns, and it's going to give you that cactus all over your ass, and you're not going to like it. We ain't going to feel it, but we don't want to watch it. That's for damn sure. Because the bottom of the deck we got here is that 2 of Cups. That's Mallow. Now, Mallow is a very different energy than this blackberry is. And so you got somebody who loves you. That's probably most time, definitely. It's always most time. You can't have that 2 of Cups energy in you or on you unless you got that already with most time. And so you got that, but somebody loves you. You're in your air energy right now. You are, whoever's tempted you in their fire. Let's go this way, right? Yeah, see? Because this is that 9 of Wands right here. But the 9 of Wands, that's wild strawberry. And it's wild strawberry in the upright. I know of places where them wild strawberries grow really well. And they're safe, in the places. And they... like that 9 of Wands, see, that's 9 of Wands. That's also fire energy, And so something about this fire energy that you're dealing with over here that's coming at you in this 6, trying to tempt you, has you and your fire energy and 9 of Wands underneath this button over here, which that is exactly what that is, because the 9 of Wands is embattled. The 9 of Wands has everything they need. They are the wild strawberry. The wild strawberries are sweet, right? Wild strawberries are tough too, It's like blackberries tough too, but they're not. They're predatorial, It's like out here, the blackberries they take over, and they make a really big mess too, and they block everything out that's kind of good, and only blackberries grow where they want to be, and they make a big mat of tangly ass thorns that you can't even get through, They just fuck you up, man, and so. They have sweet fruit for sure, but you gotta watch out because they can be invasive, and that's the thing, like that you're dealing with somebody right now who's being a little bit invasive and really crossing lines and pushing you to make a decision that's kind of got you in a position where you're gonna lose if you make that decision. You're gonna question your own morality, basically. You're gonna lose this battle that you're having over here because you're trying to keep your wands that you have. You're trying not to be encroached upon by this one. You don't want to give up 6 of your wands to join this individual because that's how the blackberry operates, right? you've got to give up 6 of your wands to join this individual, but then you're only going to have 3. You're going to be back in that 3 of wands position, which is, hey, man, keep fighting. It's God who chose to have you currency parked over here because they're telling you to take a break from this energy and use your emotion and use your intuition better because you got to make a decision here, and that's a really important decision that you have to make, man. Yeah, I can see God's got you over, and this currency parking coin is coming out with this King of Wands energy. And that King of Wands energy is masculine energy, but this masculine energy is a different energy from this 6 Wands energy, which we don't know the we don't know the orientation. We don't know if that's a man or a woman because it's just a 6 of Wands. They don't know if they're a man or a woman. Basically, kind of that would be why they're coming out with that rainbow energy, right? Their masculine energies inside of them haven't balanced themselves. They haven't healed their masculine energies. As this individual right here in that 2 of Swords means is that they're mentally a very kind of immature, it's like, and so they're being tempted by an energy that's very passionate, but this passionate person is like tempting a person that's inexperienced to make a decision that they're probably not quite ready for, but they're in this 9 of Wands with their passions because they're protecting something. And they're the wild strawberry, right? But they're in battle with they're fighting this with this emotion and this intuition. They're listening to God. God's telling them, no, you got something to protect. Stay in that 9 of Wands energies because you got the backing of a King of Wands. And a King of Wands is the energy that this individual right here is still 11 wands. No, they're still a lot of wands away from acquiring. They'll get to their 10 wands, but then they got to be a page, and then they got to be a knight. And then they gotta be a master of their queen's energy, and then they gotta then they could come out in their King of Wands energy, right? And so, but this individual right here, somebody's put them on the back burner. They've been currency parked, right? See, but God made that choice, and so God's put this King of Wands in this currency parked position while they put you in this embattled 9 of Wands over here, but you're still the wild strawberry. This King of Wands still sees you that way, And this King of Wands, see, he's the cattail. He's coming out as cattail. See that? Cattail. A cattail is the nature's pantry, is what they say. That's a very abundant plant. It grows in areas where other plants can't really grow. It grows in real swampy, wet areas. But it provides lots and lots of things for us people who want to live in God's earth the way that God intended us to do so. That's the native people out here actually used it abundantly, and in other areas like up in Oregon, it was like big time. But they would use it for their bow and arrow shafts. They would use it for insulation in their clothing because it makes big dander when it flowers. They would eat the seeds and everything on it's edible. The tubers are extremely edible. They're highly nutritious. Kind of like a potato, a little bit like a taro root. And so, that's how this King of Wands right here then. See, this King of Wands, this is a really good energy right here. Very stable, very for reals, like this guy this individual here, it's masculine energy, is solid, very solid as AF, And they're currency parked over here by God because God's telling them, hey, you need to watch this situation here, because this person here, this king, knows this strawberry. They grow together. Cattail and strawberry, they really grow together. So does the blackberry. But the blackberry will eliminate the habitat for both the wild strawberry and the cattail. They will. They're like that. They can be invasive, and they don't necessarily really grow. None of these really grow absolutely together, right? It's just in the same kind of environment. But at the same time, the blackberry and the wild strawberry can grow together, or in the wild strawberry can both grow in like dry ground, but in the soil and everything, and have the one, well, I guess they all want the same pH because cattail grows in the swamp, right? And so, but the wild blackberry will smother the wild strawberry. The wild strawberry can never grow with the wild blackberry, because the wild blackberry is going to consume the wild strawberry because they kind of have the same habitat and everything. So it seems like they roll, like all these people are coming out as fire, right? But this fire is in a defensive position because they're starting to lose their status and all that. They're they're a wild strawberry, so they're real sweet on the vine, but they're a smaller little plant, right? They can't really dominate with the strength of their vines and everything like that, like with but their fruit, the fruit of this individual. So though this individual might seem defensive or weak or small or unseen or easily tread upon because it's a low-lying little plant in the grass and stuff, right? They bear the sweetest fruit. And so this blackberry, they got a real showy fruit, but a lot of times it's real tart. It could be super sour, right? And has a lot of little seeds in it. It gets stuck in your teeth, everything. So it's not the best fruit, It's not as good as a strawberry, but the growing power, like the strength of the vines and the unusable parts, of the blackberry, I shouldn't say unusable, but the more invasive aspects of the wild blackberry is where their strength is. They can take over, And so this energy in this Nine of Wands needs to really watch out. This King of Wands energy, the cattail would never harm the strawberry, and the strawberry could always just admire the cattail because like they're both extraordinary. I mean, the wild strawberry was, of course, imagine being a wild person and having a wild strawberry, but they're like the yin and yang of each other because like the cattail tuber root is pretty bland, but it's highly nutritious, right? And like the strawberry, it doesn't make a big enough fruit, and it's like more sugar, and it's a different kind of nutrition. It's not a staple crop like the cattail is here, right? But it's still a prized fruit to have when you get it, right? And so the cattail is sitting here knowing its value, while the blackberry is trying to take over everybody's habitat in this Six of Wands energy and trying to force this strawberry right here to be something it ain't, And so that's why the emotions over here are kind of hiding under the moon. Everybody's in their head here. And I think everybody's in their head. These two are in their head. That's why they're coming out by each other. And that's because God's got them courtesy park. But they're separate from each other too because this energy over here. Spirit. See, because that's that four coin energy right there. And that's coming out underneath the water energy here under the moon. And so they're really holding everything to themselves, Everybody's being this energy is over here. These two are being stingy. They're having blockages, right? And it's like these two are coming out on top of each other, so they unfortunately might be messing around. We can only hope that it's just casual and everything, but trying to have a ace of hearts is ace of hearts here on the bottom of the deck, and so hard to say, right? What's that mean? I guess the most important thing is like with me, it's like that ace of hearts is in the upright position, which would tell me that that's a good ace of hearts. That's a positive ace of hearts. Primrose, right? Evening primrose. And again, so it's like, no. Primrose is, primrose. I didn't know primrose was wild beat. Isn't that cool? The Ace of Cups is primrose, right? Night and Howl Lark, I like that. German Rampion and Wild Beat, Can't beat the wild. But it came out in the upright. And so, because I feel that this cattail energy with the strawberry energy is in the position that even though they're separated from each other, they still should have that Ace of Cups energy, because they're not trying to play no fuck shittery, and it's the king, so that says a lot, right? All right, and so the energies that we're dealing with is with these two over here, it's fire and air, and so that's like Aries, Scorpio, or Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, and then air would be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. And then we got the berry, which is also fire. We got this king here, the wild strawberry is the fire, and then the king of the cattail over here is fire, and the roses, primrose, water. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's earth. Yeah. See. These two energies right here that are in this energy under the moon, those are earth signs right now that people are really holding back from. and it's got them stuck in this place where they feel like they got to hold back themselves, and they feel that their coins are shrinking, right? That'd be 4 pentacles right there. That's a 4 coins card, and so that would mean that they feel like they're kind of under attack, because that card, the guy's really kind of clutching, so it's like their worth, or like their self-worth, their self-value, it's like they both might not see the value that they really have for each other right now, and that's causing some separation, some temptation over here, man. That's really got a lot of energies right now up in a roar. You can feel it. You can definitely feel it. Honestly, that four coins card, I've already spoke about how the Taurus energy, the King of Pentacles energy, the Taurus energy, that's really is an Earth energy. It's Taurus or Virgo, or somebody's got Taurus and Virgo, but it's like it's Virgo or Taurus, not necessarily Capricorn. Capricorn is always coming out more in that King or Queen of Pentacles energy, but the Taurus is also King of Pentacles, right? And so it's what it is, right? It says what it is, man. But they're in their emotions. They're holding back on their emotions too, and not letting anybody know what's up. I got a lot of fire in me too, but that 4 of coins energy, that's a hard energy for me to, it's when you look at the card even, it's one of them that it'll probably come out. It usually does. I see that one quite often, really. That one and the 4 cups, really, with the energies that I read, like they've been really stuck in that energy here for a while. You got the Hermit on the bottom deck in reverse. That's our energy, that's us. Like we're trying to come out of this hermitage. We're trying to get out of our emotion so much and be getting this king of cups emotion. The masculine energies have been against each other right now. There's been a lot of issues between the King of Pentacles and the King of Fire. They've been butt heads, but the King of Pentacles has been coming out in the reverse, but they were in the upright yesterday. But their energies are often, they were in the reverse, but their Emperor energy was, or they were in the upright yesterday, but their Emperor energy was in the reverse. So yesterday it was swords. Something out here somebody's refusing to see. So yesterday was King of Pentacles was upright, the Emperor was in the reverse, and the Empress never showed up. That was yesterday. And so what's going on today? King Sword, Ace of Swords, right? That's Excalibur, And so we know the truth. And so we're gonna sit our asses down in this King of Cups energy, and we're gonna know the truth, and we're gonna stand on it. We've made a choice, and so that's what that is right there. That's choice, right? Come this way. And so with that choice comes this Page of Cups energy, which that's good, because in that energy, and it's in the upright, that's good too. That means that you're because if you look here, the sword came out, right, but with the page and the king, the page is offering a cup to the king. See, the kings just hold their cup because they know what they have, and so that's the energy that we're in, because we have that Ace of Swords. The individual is offering a cup to us, is seeing that we're that King of Cups, that we have domination over our emotions, that we're powerful in our masculine, especially emotionally, that we're not playing games, we're not cheap with that shit. We mean it for reals, and that's why we have that sort of truth. That's what makes us Excalibur, and that's also what puts the world in the palms of our hands, and that's a big power, that's big energy, right? It's that King of Cups energy right now. If you're in that energy right now where you're feeling that you could easily love, that you could trust your intuition, especially as a man or in your masculine, even if you are a woman, that's good. That is good. That means that you're listening to your heart space and that you're listening to God, and that's very powerful. What is it that this Page of Cups Spirit is trying to offer this king? Because I don't see that this king is offering much, really, because there's nothing in their cup, right? You see, look here. If you look at Page of Cups, got fish in their cup, right? And that could be Piscean energy. But it's just water. It's water in general. It could be a young Pisces that's trying to offer you an apology, possibly, or it's just a young water sign, or it's somebody who is now coming into their emotion that maybe even was part of this King of Cups here. See, their cup's empty right now, and so there's an opportunity there to fill that cup. The king is like, sure, but again, that king's always pretty serious looking too on their face, And they kind of look like a fish, so that could be a slippery individual, or that could be somebody that you can really trust in the upright position. It's somebody we can really trust, right? Somebody that we love. So it's somebody's cup that if you fill that cup, see, this individual also comes with abundance, lots of it. They can fill their own cup. Look at the water behind them, and they have filled their own cup. They're a king now. They already got the 10 cups, and so they actually have their own pages and everything like that too, So this could be a child. This could be a younger person around you who maybe works for you, or it could be a younger partner, right? There's somebody that just really looks up to you, even like mentor, a mentor dynamic or something like that, right? Apprentice. And so the King of Cups is open to the idea, They got a fish in the background here, and they got a ship too, And so when that ship is coming, the wind and the sails of those ships are blowing those ships into their harbor, their port, And so they're like, well, yeah, if you got good news and you got something that you want to deliver that we can work with here, I got a fish too, so I can already match you. I just left this my fish out of my cup here, so you can see that I got an empty cup for you to pour your love into too, if you want to, Yeah, you got a harbor for your ship to land at, and that's where the Six of Cups is coming out in the upright position. See, and so, but that's kind of like it's the opposite direction here on that six, because if you look at this Six of Cups right here. The person that's handing the cup to the individual there is smaller than them a little bit, But at the same time, they're dressed in clothes that look like maybe they're an old lady, right? And the individual that's handing that cup down looks like they're dressed like an elf. I mean, I don't know the best way to put it, right? Kind of. And so that could be a representation that, there's healing here, But the healing that's in that cup right there, it goes both ways. So it's like, maybe even though this individual that is the king, that king energy might be just coming out because emotionally right now they're a little bit more mature, but they also need healing. That's why their cup's empty. That's why they're willing to leave that cup empty, And they got not a whole lot of space on their crown, and they got their throne here, and they got a lot of rough water around them, and their ship isn't in the harbor right now, And so the cup that's being offered to them by this page, that could be a bigger cup than what that page tanks, And so this cup could just be the mirror image of how the king looks bigger than the page here. At the same time, they're meeting on common ground, They both got a lot to offer each other. And the department of healing, too, That's emotional healing. That's emotional abundance. That's flowers, right? And so this king, I think, is asking this page of cups right here, with this sort of truth, to actually meet them and fill that cup with flowers. That king wants some flowers. I think that king's helped this page of cups a lot. There's been a lot of healing given this page of cups. That even though this page of cups is looks smaller, and even here it's like they're the big individual that's handed down to this queen because of the garb of the queen. But that also, this individual that's receiving the cup is also the page of cups, because they're feeling their years or feeling more experienced than maybe what they would have if they hadn't taken the path that they took with this king. Right? And that's why the world's coming out the bottom of the deck, because these people mean the world to each other, but when they come together and they heal like this, then they get to have the world, and that's big. That's a beautiful thing. That's a really cool thing. That's when they realize that this castle behind them, that neither of them are children, really. They pop into that energy where they're that empress, that empress and that emperor trying to heal, But they have all of this energy fucking with them, man. And this energy, see, this King of Wands energy right here now is coming out in the reverse. So it's not this cattail, right? This is the energy of this Six of Wands over here. This is the energy that's trying to get in between these two healing. This is the energy that this rainbow, it's like they got some twisted ways of seeing things, and all they think about is tits and ass and pussy, you know. And they're not thinking about their heart space. They're not thinking about your heart space. They're not thinking about our heart space. They're not thinking about anybody's heart space. They just want to rule the world, right? With their staff, and that's just fucked up, man. And so that King of Wands in the reverse energy is this energy that I've been talking about that's embattled with this King of the Wands energy in the upright position. Because see, they're on Curtis' part because they're sitting it out. They know what's going on, and they don't want to play these fucking games. They know that this King of Wands right here is a Six of Wands in the reverse, and they're just a blackberry vine. And this king right here, this cattail knows that blackberry vines can't grow where they grow. They can't touch them. They ain't all the same, you know. Blackberry die where a cattail grows, you know. And so, you know, they can they can encroach on the black cattail, but the cattail can go where the blackberry can't go. So the blackberry could go a little bit into the area where the cattail is. They could kind of encroach it from the edge. Their tentacles could reach out there and grab a cattail, but they could never come out and be a cattail. They can't grow like a cattail, you know. But cattail can grow where the blackberry grow because they're adaptable, you know. So they can grow in areas that flood where blackberry can kind of hang out, but when it dry, but they can't go as wet as a blackberry can. So these motherfuckers here ain't got no emotion, right? This one does. So this is a king of fire right here with really grounded, solid, masculine emotions coming out as this King of Cups. That's what that is. But they've been Curtis Park, you know. Because they're waiting for this apology. Because the king knows truth right here. The king knows also over here, this King of Cups knows damn good well that this energy over here that's standing in the way of this healing is this King of Wands in the reverse, right? This Six of Wands over here, this blackberry. This blackberry needs to be eliminated. That's what it is. They need to be wee-whacked. Because they're tired. Every time I hit that table, them cards go further apart. Maybe I should keep hitting that table, right? Because them coins don't need to be sitting on top of each other, tempting this two of swords energy, and this embattled button over here. And this Nine of Wands, this strawberry, this wild strawberry, this king of this cattail's wild strawberry. They don't like blackberries, man. And that's why Wheel of Fortune right here is coming out, right? And that means that this is a karma. This is a karmic battle right here. This is a spiritual warfare, man. This is a real deal right here. This is the Empire. This is the whatever they fucking call that shit. Them Star Wars and stuff, you know. This is not even that. I don't even like that shit. This is what it is. This is a fight to the death, man. This is the end, or this is it. You know. This is Armageddon. That's what they say. You know. An individual that could use fire and water so well is the ultimate alchemist, you know. And that's the truth. The flame that can swim, you know, or water that can burn requires alchemy. So you don't fuck with the alchemist, man. You don't. And they know the truth always. That's what they're telling this Page of Cups right here. This Page of Cups, it's got a lot of healing to do to get this King of Wands energy in the reverse out of here, man. But that King of Wands energy in the reverse, spiritually speaking, is going to have their ass handed to them. That's what that Wheel of Fortune is, because this cattail ain't never going to get bad karma. Always done with cattail, man. They done their work. They always do their work. Yeah, see? That's that Five Swords, right? Five Swords in the upright position would be winning at all costs, right? Do whatever it takes, right? But God's saying, nah, man. Put your fire, put that anger and stuff away, you know, right now. Just sit out there and watch. The King of Cups, stay in emotions, you know. Hold tight, protect your emotions. That's why you're coming out here at that four of coin with that water coin, right? Underneath the moon right here, you know. And so that's what Spirit's saying. Like, they're like, nah, you don't gotta win at any cost, you know. See in the reverse like that? That's then people running away from you. You know, in the upright position, that's then people you thought you had to defeat, that you had to take down, right? You had to cut out of your life and everything. And And so you're picking up their swords now, and they're running out here shamed because they lost the battle, lost the swords, and you won, you know? So it's kind of nasty energy, right? That's air. It's like Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but it's just that winning at all costs, you know? But it's like, I won, bitches, and they're running, you know? Well, in the reverse, it's the other way around, man. The bitches right there, they're trying to come up and defeat you, and you had them swords already, you know? And so you just whooped their asses. And now you're just picking up your swords off the battlefield. You know, you've had you never did have to grow like that. You know, you weren't trying to win at any cost. Like you already fucking knew, or you know, like the battle was already won. You know, when they showed up because you're the one that's already done the work, right? You've already been in this position. You know, it doesn't feel good to whip people's ass and take their shit. And so you're like, nah, man. But if you fuck with me, I'm gonna chop you up with swords I already have. You know, and that's good, man. And that's getting rid of the shadow. You know. That's how we do this work. And that's what God knows. And that's why God's got you parked over here, protecting yourself, protecting your emotions and everything. You know, you're using them swords that you got. Like, these people are just crying because they ain't got it in them right now. They can't fight. They don't know what the fuck they want. And that's why they be coming out that rainbow novelty coin, man. Right? But whatever it is that they're doing, they're not you. Because you're over here picking up your swords, no matter what. And they over there crying about it, right? Because it ain't working out for them. It's working out for this King of Cups over here because he's restraining his fire and he's allowing God to Curtis Park his ass, man, make the tank, you know? That's good. And that's how this King of Cups is confident that they know the truth. And so they could open their heart space to this healing that could be offered to them by this Page of Cups, you know? But they're still aware that there's this Knight of Wands energy out here that's got karma coming. And they just ain't sure that all of that's been quite sorted out yet. So, is there healing in this cup? The page off over here. So how you doing, Spirit? Well, you good? Yeah, of course, see? In the upright position though today. That's good. And so, this King of Cups, you know, he's speaking to the heart. This sword here that this King of Cups is really trying to offer to this page right here. This Page Cups, because they know that this Page Cups is something they really truly love. You know, they know that this Page Cups wants to apologize. They know all this shit because they're fully fucking aware because this is the motherfucking King of Pentacles, man, that we're talking about. It's not even a page. Like, that's why this motherfucker knows that shit because, see, in this healing card, you can't tell who's the big one, who's big shot, who's the shot, right? The only big shot in this card I see is this motherfucker back here at the fucking spear. We all need to identify who that is, right? They could be for us, they could be against us, but there's somebody that we ain't. We're those two right there. You know, who are you? Who am I? We don't know, right? That's for you to figure out, right? But either way, they're both big energy because they come out in the reverse here with the King and the Page having this little conversation. These two, you know, trying to heal. Yeah. But they're trying to learn how to do that together. The one knows a little bit better than the other, but the other one's been through a lot. That's why they hide their fish back there and their cup's empty. This one is kind of in the mode of like, they're really willing to give their cup. I don't know if they've ever done that before. You know? And so, but this Page of Swords is out here and that's good. I mean, this Excalibur's out here, that's good. That's good. That's damn good. With this healing too, and that's good. And the King of Pentacles in the upright position. But see, that's good too because the King of Pentacles, you know, they always kind of look straight ahead, but their head's looking a little bit this way, if you notice here, right? And that way that they're looking a little bit that way, that's in the direction of this guy right here, this motherfucker. And the King of Pentacles don't really look like they are too sure, you know? Because if they're sitting on a table like this, you can see, look. I'm almost kind of looking a little down on that individual. They're seeing it for what it is, you know. And that could be their own passions. That could be their own desires or whatever that they thought they had, their own passions they thought they had, but they didn't, you know, and they got to change their mind now because maybe they're going down the wrong path. They got to make the right choice. And it's not in this King of Wands energy in the reverse. They're not into it, you know. They're like, really seriously, you know. And so I like that, you know. The King of Pentacles should like that. That's good to be in the upright position. I myself am a lot of King of Pentacles energy. So I like that because I like to see things for what they are. And that's why I'm Shesh, and you should be too. Not that you should be that name or whatever, but you should find your own name and it should be a name that represents truth. And so that would be good, you know, if we were all operating in that energy, we wouldn't have any 6 of Wands out here creeping around the woodshed trying to cause trouble. You know? But this one right here is going to get some karma for the bullshit that they're doing. Whoever it is, and whoever it is, anybody's got fire in their chart, that could be put in the reverse, you know? If you got fire in a chart that's already upright and you got nothing to worry about, so you know yourself, gotta know yourself. We all possibly got a little bit of fire in our charts, you know? And so be accountable. That's what it comes down to. Find that energy in your chart. That's that King of Pentacles in the upright position, and let them dominate in your masculine energy, and let them dominate in these situations so that you are practical, you are reliable, you are truthful, you are abundant, you know? Because this individual right here is an abundant individual. Hot, sexy motherfucker, bad and bone. That's what you're going to rely on, you know? They pay the bills. They don't let you down. No, they grow expansively. They know themselves within enough to be stable, confident, and strong. They're not flighty and insecure. You know, they're not weak. They're powerful. You know, they keep their ego balanced, and they're good with business and stuff. They make coin. This one right here in the reverse, fuck everything you have off, man. That's what they do. You know, I didn't make the deck and I didn't pull the card. It's just what it is. That's what Spirit says. You know, that's good. I'm trying to do a close relay and make it so personal. That one came out in reverse, you know. I always do that. I fuck up when they fall on the table. I turn them around and I gotta quit doing that. You know, I'm trying to get better about it. You know, be straight, be honest with the reads. Don't do that shit. You know? It's not that it was being dishonest in the first place, but this King of Wands energy is nine of Cups in the reverse. You know, and you know, with the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, which is going to represent the feminine energy of this this King of Pentacles, you know, which tells me that this struggle, it's not third party. It's not a third party situation, and that's why this individual is coming out in that Two Swords over there, you know, because they're only thinking about two people, really, and so they're thinking about this King of Cups, you know, but they're trying to heal something from the past, you know, that this King of Cups over here sees that when they grow up from this, they're going to realize that it never was a struggle between the two of them. That third party was never an option because they're a divine being, you know. Because there's the two people in here, but they're crying, you know, and those people are going to be like, those are the temptations, right? That's this duality. That's these two coins. That's that rainbow novelty, and that's the old ways of thinking with that fantasy and flesh novelty coin, you know. This Nine of Cups coming out in the reverse actually is very relieving, you know, because it really does identify that this King of Wands energy is the same energy as this King of Pentacles, you know, and that's why these two kings always have been coming out conflicting, you know. It's not like it's two masculine energies in the physical, or it's not like it's like a third party situation where there's like more than, you know. I mean, in here it's all masculine. This is all masculine energy, you know. I mean, they're in a queen out here. Well, there's Queen of Pentacles in the bottom of the deck, but in the reverse. But that's because the masculine energy is struggling with their feminine energy. This King of Pentacles is coming out a little bit karmic, right? But their karmic energy that they're struggling with is in themselves, you know. And so their masculine energy is wanting to master this King of Wands energy and the upright, but for their feminine energy, they're trying to heal their feminine energy, you know, like or how they want their feminine energy. This Queen of Pentacles, see, they don't feel that their feminine energy sees their King of Pentacles that in a way that's passionate right now, you know, but they don't know if they have passion for their King of Pentacles, and so that makes them wonder about that's where that duality comes from about their own sexuality, because they're trying to balance their own masculine and feminine within themselves, man. And so their passions are, they're not taking into account all 10 of the passions, right? All 10 of the wands that they have already done. They've had to step back into a 6 of wands position, or into that, dealing with those energies, right? And going away from something that was like stable and reliable and really steadfast, strong, and all that, like the cattail, right? Abundant. And so they stepped into an energy that is like not abundant, like it's in that 6 of wands energy, but it's in the reverse, which is 6 of wands is celebration, right? And so, but it's in the reverse. It's the blackberry in the reverse, and so that 6 of wands is like, they're not celebrating. They want to kind of get back to that cattail energy, So it's, even though it's kind of bland, maybe boring, and it takes like work to make it work for you, kind of things. Like, but it still is like solid, it's stable, it's sustenance. It's like it's everything you need, And but like that 6 of wands, this like temporary celebration was tempting them that they could go, hey, but maybe I could go really have a good time over here, and then find myself, because maybe I'm not. They don't know how to balance their own feminine and masculine energies, right? So it's like they don't know if they're happy with the Queen of Pentacles. That's why they're feminine, because they can't balance that energy in themselves. And so they're questioning, that would be like questioning, that at this moment they may be questioning their sexuality, in a sense that they don't know if the Queen of Pentacles is delivering for them the way that they want, But that's why she's hiding in the bottom of the deck, right? Because she don't want to deal with that shit. Like she feels that this King of Pentacles shouldn't feel lacking passion for his Queen of Pentacles, She's like, no, man, why do you lack passion for me, right? And the King of Pentacles is saying, I'm not sure like that I have all of my cups filled up, It's like the King of Pentacles not coming out in this upright position of this nine of cups. They're coming out in the reverse position of this 9 of cups, which is saying, well, I don't even know if I have like cups to offer to you, And so I got to go be in this 6 of wands energy where I'm not celebrating and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like making questionable choices, and it makes me feel embattled, right? Like I'm not getting my passion. Like I got to fight for my passions. I need to go fight for my passions in order to fill my cups. And then maybe I could have my queen in the upright position, And like, that's not true, And that's what Spirit's saying, And that's why Spirit's really trying to protect this fire energy right here, because this King of Wands, he sees this King of Cups, sees this reverse King of Wands as his Queen of Pentacles, right? And so it makes this King of Cups over here, because that's the other energy, is this King of Cups, is so like that's the masculine energy, but their feminine energy is this Queen of Pentacles, And so like this King of Pentacles is rejecting his Queen of Pentacles, because their passions are kind of not clear, And they don't feel that they have anything to offer her, And that really upsets this king over here. It just makes them sad, It's fucking with their passions. It's like God's like, hey, you gotta take your passions and just chill for a little bit. It's like, don't take them elsewhere, but sit on it, Think about it. This individual that you're in love with, their passions are embattled right now. They don't know what they want, We got over here spinning this Wheel of Fortune. And see, so the what's causing this Wheel of Fortune, that's causing this karma, is that somebody's refusing to see this there's a refusal. That's this 9 of Wands over here, but with that 8 of Swords, because it's coming out on top of that 9 of Wands with that button and this fucking Wheel of Fortune, right? Is puts this person at a crossroads, and they're afraid to make a move because the karmic wheel is on the upright, and so that tells me that that they're not seeing that Six of Wands is in the reverse. You know, because it's like they think that karma is gonna come out in their favor. They can't understand like why, if they make the wrong choice, that's gonna karmically affect them, and that's because they're not familiar with this water that they're navigating. You know, there's still that strawberry, right? A strawberry is a delicate one, man. Springtime delicate, sweet little fruit. It's easy to pick, and it's like, but it's delicious. And everybody wants to devour it. And so they don't understand how karma works. You know, they think, well, but I'm like this little strawberry over here, and I'm innocent. I'm not like blackberry. I'm not out there scratching everybody up, and fucking shit up, and everything. You know, so I could like dabble with that energy a little bit, and think I'm going to celebrate over there. But why should I have to pay the karma if that doesn't go right? I'm just a strawberry, you know. And most high is saying, you know, this individual just doesn't see that. You know, they don't see that. And so I guess we'll find out here what Most High does say. But what Most High is saying is that this energy of not seeing it and that making that karmic wheel turn is what this King of Cups over here is really aware of, because Most High got them set aside, and they're like, hey, look, you know, this person doesn't know what they want. Like, they don't know what they're doing, you know, and like those swords behind them, somebody that it shouldn't have access to those swords, they can start wielding those swords even against that individual, right? And those are your thoughts. That's your thinking. That's who you are, right? And so Most High is telling this King of Cups, like, yeah, man, you're in love with her and everything, or you're in love with him, everything, right? But like, you need to put that passion away. You need to put you need to be a cattail, and not a fiery fucking wandmonger, you know. Like just stay focused to keep yourself where you need to be, you know. You know what to do and provide, right? And so, but in the meanwhile, he's saying, you know, it's like, let strawberries grow strawberries, and you be the cattail, man, you know. So, and that's courtesy parking. That's what God does for us sometimes, you know. Sometimes God sets us aside, and they say, hey, you know, you got a lot to think about, or whatever. And same with that four coins energy, because I think that's something that I myself have lacked proper usage of it. You know, I've always had to be frugal because I was just always getting ripped off. too loose with that shit, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, I got plenty here, you know. And it took me a long time to realize that everybody else, they ain't got plenty like me. That's just what God does, you know. But that's why I could do it, you know, and I still survive. You know, I'm like a starfish or lizard or whatever. You cut off my arm, it grows back, you know. Not everybody's like that. That's what the strawberries learned. You know, strawberry, you only get harvest strawberry one time out of the year, you know. And then that's when spring, it's when they get the water and everything, they grow, you know, they make flower, they make strawberry. They're beautiful, tasty, lovely, you know. Smell good and all that, you know. But they're only around for that short period of time during the season. The cattail, it could be around for the whole season, you know. And so, like, the cattail is for these energies that we're working with is what this strawberry would love to acquire at their energy. That's why this King of Pentacles would love to be in that King of Wands in an upright position, because that would be really, really sexy to this King of Cups, feminine energy that's coming out in the reverse Queen of Pentacles that was there, you know. Yeah, it's in the Ace of Cups, but it's in the reverse too. It's like it's not being offered. It's being offered, but it's being offered as a page, you know. And the king's over here. It's like the king's trying to defend that Queen of Pentacles, because that Queen of Pentacles deserves what she wants, you know. And she wants that fire energy of that King of Wands in the upright position, right? And like that King of Pentacles, that King of Cups knows, no, man, she deserves what she wants, you know, because that's a part of him, you know. But he don't want she don't want this Page of Cups, no, you know. She don't she's growing past that stage, you know, because now she's in that King of Cups energy. She knows what she wants. That's why that Five of Swords is coming out in reverse like that. Whereas this energy over here, that's gonna kind of trying to play that karmic wheel. They want to spin that karmic wheel, right? Because they're indecisive, they don't know what they want. They're really running the risk of turning them cups upside down. That's gonna hurt them in a way. Because that's them cups, that's going to keep them in that King of Pentacles is going to keep that King of Wands in the upside down position. And that's going to run away that Queen of Pentacles. And then that King of Cups, he's not going to be able to protect this King of Pentacles anymore in the heart of that Queen of Pentacles. And then the party's over with that when that happens, you know. So we got magician. We got 3 wands. That's more fire energy again. That's more wands, right? And so wands are magic, yo. But I feel like this is it's good magic. I think it's this this King of Wands right here, or this King of Cups, you know. See, the King of Cups is the opportunity. It's like they're the water here in this 3 of Cups card, right? You know, and so they're like offering stability and calm waters, you know. And you got ships floating in there, and you got all kinds of that stuff, right? Because the that's like them cattails, right? Them ships, because them ships grow in water. The ships go set on water, and cattail it grows on water, right? And so this card right here is representing the opportunity that this King of Pentacles gives the Queen of Pentacles, kind of to grow in with that water, you know, and it keeps their this King of Wands energy, you know, which is the energy of this passion of this king right now. It keeps that cattail safe from the blackberry energy, you know, and being overly consumed by them, you know. And so this so that's what them ships are. The ships are being protected by the water. See, that's that fiery masculine energy of this king here. That they're protected. That's why they're that cattail. See, that they're out there in the water, so then blackberries can't really grow. But they gave this this Page of Wands, what this king's saying, this King of Water, is saying, look, man, I got these ships. This is that strawberry, right? But the king's trying to say, hey, you're not in a 9 of Wands position. You're in a 3 of Wands position, because I'm the ocean, and that's God. Right? That's that King of Cups. That's God. That's God. He's protecting us all. He's protecting these cattails, because if cattails are growing with God, they can't be touched by the blackberry vines. They can't scratch them up and claw them down and overtake their shit. They can't be invasive in the water, right? God has them ships protected. And so God has this King of Wands energy of this King of Cups. They're working together. And that's why the King of Wands energy is fiery as hell, but coming out with that water that keeps him in that cattail, you know? And the 6 Wands is a false celebration and everything, you know. But this 3 of Wands right here, see, this is the strawberry, but then 3 Wands with that king saying, now look, you know, you're a Page of Cups, sure, but protect that. You know, you got a lot of fire, you know, you don't know much about water. So you at least got 3, you're still young, you know, but in fire, you got 3 Wands. And so you're moving along, right? And so you can kind of fucking protect yourself with your fire, you know? Like, you don't need to succumb to a false sense of celebration with this 6 Wands out here with that fire energy, because you know better. You know, I'm a 3 of Wands. That the 6 of Wands is blackberry vines, and they're trying to mislead you because a horse is surrounded by people and everything, and it looks like a celebration, but everybody's got wands in their hands too, you know? And those could be blackberry vines trying to drag you off that horse. And they probably are. But you're not on that horse, and you know that. And so you're really setting yourself aside here in the strawberry energy, right? Because you're feeling, whoa, man, I'm not winning, I'm losing. And so you're trying to trust your intuition, because God also has you courtesy parked out here by this King of Wands and these cattail tubers. That's why you're standing right here on the side of the shore where strawberries grow. Blackberries got to go up there a little bit further. They don't like wet roots. They don't know how to do that shit. They can't handle it. It kills them, you know? And so they can only get so close, you know? They get close to water, but they can hang over the water and everything, as long as they got enough dry ground, you know, and everything. But strawberry never grows on a blackberry. They just don't. They get choked out. They grow on the edges of each other, but never on, you know. And so, God's telling you, you know, that this king, that these opportunities that you have, it may not be a whole lot. You got 3 of them though. You got 3 ideas. You know that will work. And so use them staves to, instead of letting them drag you off your horse, defend them, beat them vines back, you know. Don't let them grow your garden or stop you from being able to get on them boats right there on the water where God's going to keep you safe. Even though you got to be out there and you're going to feel courtesy parked, you know. Because there's 3 energies out here courtesy parked, and that's just this button, and that's just this curse, this king, this cattail, this berry, and this four of coins, you know. And so something's on hold that you love dearly, that is a part of your emotion, and that's a mission that God's calling you to. That's why these ships are parked out there. That's why that cattail's calling you to say, hey, just come out here with us, you know. And they got ships, so they got dry ground for you to put yourself in where you'll grow and prosper. But then cattail and strawberries, they grow okay together. They grow well together. They can work together, you know. They're both highly prized, you know. Maybe very different, but highly prized, you know. They can respect each other's space and work together, you know, with love and everything. And that's why that energy is coming out with the magician. You know, and so you're the master manifester, you're the magician, and that's your fire energy again, you know. And so you're not stuck in a battle situation over here with this Nine of Wands. You're just waiting to get the war over so that you can move on to your higher purpose. And that's because you're going to master all of your elements, you know. So maybe in this Three of Wands energy, when you're looking over this water, maybe that water is something that you need. Maybe you need a long, big drink of water and start thinking about things a little bit more intuitively, a little bit more emotionally, you know, and use a little more compassion in your heart. And then you're going to manifest, because see, the magician needs all four elements to manifest, right? You got to have earth, fire, water, and air. The high priestess has that fifth element, so she doesn't got to worry about manifestation. She always knows it's just going to be there, you know. And that's the difference between the magician and the high priestess. But you're the magician, so you still got this. You just have to master that element. You need more water in your chart. But you can understand that in yourself and master that element of water. And then when you send again, or you won't have to go through the struggles that you're going through now with all this shit, you know, because you're going to master it on this transit. That's what they're asking you to do, you know. Quit fighting it. You know, quit fighting it. You've been fighting this truth that the king's trying to get you to see, you know. This King of Cups trying to teach you, because they know that you're young at this game. And you're learning, but they love you very much, you know, but you're resisting it. You keep fighting it, you know, you keep fighting that truth. They got that sword out there. The King of Cups is in their heart, because they're fiery about how they feel about you, because that's why they're coming out over here as the King of Wands and the cattails, right? But they don't want to fight with you no more, and you keep fighting with them. That's why it's coming out upright for you, you know? And so, and if you look here, see the King of Pentacles, he's looking disgustingly over here at that Page of Wands energy in the reverse, but he's also got his back turned away and he's snubbing on that Page of Cups. So that King of Wands don't look good to him in the reverse, and that Page of Cups, he don't trust him. See that King of Pentacles? And so the King of Pentacles is also tired of all the fighting. You know, they want to heal. That's why they're coming out in the upright position. And so they know that this Page of Cups has got to offer this king more than just the Page of Cups, you know, that they want, that they have been waiting. You know, King of Pentacles also feels like they've been waiting, you know, and I think the King of Pentacles has been waiting. They want love in their heart. They want to be able to offer their heart, their cup. They want somebody to see that they have a fish in their cup, because they've been afraid for a long time that they didn't, but they were in that page. They weren't like a king. King has fish behind them. They got a lot of fish. You know, the page, they felt like their cup was empty, but they didn't realize they have a fish, you know, and so that's why they come insecure in this situation, like a page, you know. And like with these guys, you know, it's like the page is fighting it. It's not the king fighting it. You know, kings fights their wars with cannons and soldiers and troops and everything, and like at least swords, you know. I mean, a knight has a sword, so a king has many swords, you know. It's like 10 swords and multiple swords. They're all swords, you know. It's a king's got a lot of swords. These individuals just got sticks, and they're kind of throwing some shit around out there, but they're children. They're pretending, they're playing, they're trying to learn, you know. But there's nothing to fight here, is what the thing is. And that's why with this Page of Cups, they're maybe a little bit confused, but they're coming out in the upright. But that's why they're a page right now, not a queen. If they were a queen, these two would be, all their problems would be solved, because this Queen of Pentacles, this King of Pentacles, would give love to the masculine energy that's coming out, and this King of Pentacles of their feminine, their Queen of Pentacles, and then she'd be in the upright position, you know, and they would celebrate. And so but that tells me that this King of Pentacles knows that with this this King of Cups over here, that's where they're going to celebrate. You know, they know that the way that they're going to get the only way they're going to meet their Queen of Pentacles in the upright position is when they make friends with this King of Cups over here. So they got to make peace. They got to make friends with this King of Cups. They got to look at each other, because right now they're looking away from each other, but they're both looking down at the energies that they know are causing the grief, you know. And like the King of Cups doesn't have their back turned on anything, But the King of Pentacles does have their back turned on this truth and the Page of Cups right here, but also the squabbling, you know. And they're looking down here at this this Nine of Cups in the reverse. They're wondering, like, is it worth dumping out all my cups? And then I want to celebrate. And so they don't want to take the risk with this King of Wands in the reverse, because that individual is not coming out as a celebration over here, or that energy within themselves is not a celebration. But if they embrace this King of Pentacles for their masculine energy instead of this King of Wands in the reverse, they're going to find that they're going to really celebrate there, you know. And they're going to celebrate, that Six of Wands is going to be celebrating with this King of Wands in an upright position as cattail, but that who has been put on courtesy parked by God. God's like, we got a nice ride for you, but we're going to set aside right now because you're kind of acting like a fool, drinking too much, whatever, you're going to wreck it. And so until you do that, ride a jalopy or drive a jalopy, don't get stuck in a jalopy. They're like, you know, don't go too far in a jalopy or whatever the fuck, but just don't be a jalopy. This is not, you know, and that's what they're trying to say. And like they're also trying to say, when you get this ride, you don't want to get into a divine ride that God gave you with muddy boots. So keep your shit clean, you know. That's what they're trying to say. And this cattail knows that they're trying to be as loving as they can about how they present that to this individual, so that they can see it and not feel like it's an attack, but like it's actually them, or controlling, but it's actually like love. It's like, look, man, I see the divine light. God's showing me the fucking path, you know, and so bear with me. Or bear with us, bear with them, you know, most importantly, listen to God, because God's the one that's running this whole fucking show. That's why they came out right here as the King of Cups. Boom, no questions asked. That's just who they are, you know. There's none of this other monkey business. Because they have that sort of truth. That's Excalibur. Yeah, see, down here, we got this, this is the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. It fell in the reverse on the floor down. And it came out with the Hierophant. That's God. You know? And so that's just what it is. Like, you know, like God wants everybody to see their work, you know, for this to move forward. Like for this to, this King of Pentacles, they're not really seeing that it's they're trying to decide what is God's work, because they're also this Hierophant, right? They're coming out in that Hierophant energy too, but that's with God, you know. But that's with their Nine of Cups in the reverse. And so that's with their Nine of Cups in the reverse, meaning, and then the Eight of Pentacles is in the reverse. Is that the King of Pentacles is starting to really see that what this King of Wands energy that they've been in hasn't seen, is that this is all the doing of God, you know, that they're the Hierophant. And so God always rules everything, but at the same time, they're also in charge of that. They're the Hierophant, you know. So this king has more control over their life than what they've actually accepted. You know, they thought everything they were doing didn't work, but the only thing is that they didn't know themselves in that living relationship with God. And they're starting to see that, because they're starting to realize that, whoa, man, so certain things are just because God makes it be that way. And the only way that you can accept it is by knowing that God made that happen, you know? And that's that Hierophant energy. And that's why the Hierophant gets along really well with the High Priestess. But that High Priestess, she ain't nowhere to be seen here today, man. Laying low, you know? She's like, if nobody wants to see the truth that I've been telling them, and they don't want to listen to God, then they should go ahead and dump their cups out. I don't give a fuck. That's what she's saying. Right now, at least. But that could always change, you know? Yeah, because she says, I already have a world in my hand, and we're not going to turn it over, you know, like that shit. She's excited about everything in life, you know? She's not trying to sleep on nothing. She's not trying to pass up her opportunity, you know? Because nobody wants to see what the fuck's going on. And God knows that. And so that's why God's saying, it's like, no, your whole world is going to be turned upside down if you keep fucking around and sleeping on this shit, you know? Like, get over it. Like, get over yourself. Quit your healing time. It's time for the next step in your healing. And so you got to get off of that table. It's like, you didn't lose the battle. You're still alive. And you've been laying there a while now. So get off the table. And you're on the table too long praying to me to make it happen. But you got 3 swords up there. Start swinging them motherfuckers. Get out there and do it yourself. I got other people I got to help, kind of, you know? And so... so God's got the whole world turned upside down for this individual, and because they're just not seeing it, you know. But God has their world turned upside down because they really are just kind of like, they're just faking it, you know. They're not really doing anything. It's like they're pretending, they're still like in that idea phase. They're looking at the sorts of thoughts, you know. So it's like they're just in their head sitting there like la da da. They know they got like a big sword down here below them that they really truly value, that they don't want to lose, but they're just sleeping on it. See, they're laying on top of it with these other thoughts. They're like, well, but maybe, but maybe, but maybe. It's like, well, nah, man, them fucking swords, they hang up on the wall right there. They're nothing fancy. The one that you got down there that you're not paying any attention to, that wants to lay with you, wants to be with you, is the one that is the true Excalibur, you know? And that's that sword of truth that this King of Cups over here is trying to give you to swing, you know? So that your world doesn't stay turned upside down, right? And that's good. That's good energy, even if those energies are in the reverse, see? Because when you see that, and like these energies here, they're coming out on top of this nine of wands right here. That's a strawberry again. You know, that's that wild strawberry. That's in this four of coins energy too. You know, those ones usually always come out together, right? But there's 10 of Pentacles at stake for this individual. You know, there really is. It's not about 9 cups that really. It's like. The only reason that individual feels like they got them 9 cups like that is because they're just not listening to their intuition, you know, and that's why they're over here in battle. They're struggling with really listening to their intuition, knowing their emotion, identifying their emotion, so they get that 10 of Pentacles, right? Right? Because they are the magician. They know how to do it. What else you got, Spoon? Anyways, how are you this week? Sometimes these motherfuckers out here, right? This card. Yeah, see, you're not in that 5 of Cups no more, man. This King of Cups trying to tell you for sure that we're not in that 5 of Swords nor that 5 of Cups energy, man. No, nobody's getting their cups spilled over. That'd be crazy, you know. What Spirit's saying here is this King of Cups trying to tell you, you know, that maybe there's a couple cups that gotta get kicked over, but not all of them. You gotta see that. You gotta realize that. Don't cry over those cups that gotta get spilled in order to preserve the 9 cups that you might lose over here if you don't make the right decision, you know. And so. That's truth, right? Because that's why Excalibur's right there. Anything that this King of Cups is saying right now is being spoken in truth. And God tells us that by that card coming out right there like it did. And there's no arguing with that because you can't argue with the energy of the cards. That's how God delivers it to us, man. And that's how we stay true in our shit, right? And so, yeah, because see, there's a cup being offered by this page, right? But this page, it's like they're coming out even smaller right here if you look than this sword, right? I mean, the sword's almost the whole size of this page, you know. And so that says that this sword right here, it's really the truth, you know. That this king right here ain't fucking around, man. It's God's truth. This page is like. Not that they should know better, you know. It's like this sword don't want to come against this page. They don't. This king don't. But the sword is like so big. But this page is still kind of like, well, they're intimidated, sure, you know, but they're not afraid to squabble because they, for whatever reason, they just don't feel that that this King of Cups is telling the truth, you know, or like. They can't see forward movement into the sun as Earth Angels with this King of Cups over here. So the King of Cups try to tell them the truth, try to tell them like, look, there's nothing to fight about here, because in the opposite direction, they're like, they want this is what the King of Cups wants. It's like that, you know, and so because they're trying to deliver this message of love and temperance, but that they're Earth Angels, you know, like with the clarity of the sun. And some forward movement here to get out of this situation that everybody's in, where they're emotionally feeling in that courtesy park place, right? But the page is saying, no, I'm not sure about that. So their cup is like, yeah, I love you, but what if, you know? And that's the energy that we're in. That's what we're talking about. That's that that's that blackberry energy. That's that. These are 3 vines of that blackberry that really want to drag these individuals down, just like that's accompanied by these 5 of wands, you know? And so, that energy is what's that's keeping that this King of Pentacles and their emotions, right? That's what's keeping their emotions shallow, because they can't trust the stuff that God's bringing in, but because God's trying to offer them 2 cups, right? And so, like I said earlier, you know, this king and this page right here, they got a lot to offer each other. It's just that they're not emotionally yoked, you know. They materially. Like the emotions of this king are like, well, I trust you that we could build an empire together, that for sure, you know, but I can't trust that you're going to stay there because your emotions are going to be not fulfilled within our empire. And that's why they're trying to say, hey, show me that you can feel that, okay, so now I see you're starting to fill your cup. You have a fish in your cup. You're coming at me with that Page of Cups energy. But I'm going to sit here and I got my cup empty, but you already know I got I can fill my cup if I want, but I want to see you fill my cup a little bit so we can watch you grow with that shit, and then and be able to refill your cup again, like come in with some offers, like that's a cool offer. I'm glad you got fish. I got fish too. We can have a feast. But like I want to know that that's going to continue, like one apologies doesn't mean jack shit without action. Apologies are worthless, really. Words are meaningless. To say I'm sorry is asking for somebody to just say, oh, okay, that's okay that you treated me like shit. Well, that don't work, like if you want to do that, you got to come in with something in your cup. And then you got to offer that individual, and you got to know what it is to give and to share and to receive and all of that stuff, right? And then you'll make your apology evident with your actions, because you should never put yourself in a position where you feel like you have to apologize, because that means that you've done wrong by yourself, and in doing so, you've harmed people that you love. You can't ask them to tell you it's okay for you to treat them like that, and that's what you're saying when you apologize. If you say, hey, oh, I'm sorry, and then they're like, oh, it's okay. No, fuck no, it ain't. And we all need to kind of understand what that means, and that's where they get us caught up again with this Christ energy shit, It's like, no, you gotta understand sometimes, It's like we're coming into an age where it's getting to the point where it's like, man, it's eye for an eye. I mean, it's that people have taken advantage of that apology energy, that energy of like, oh, I'm sorry, and everybody's supposed to be like, oh, it's okay. Well, no, there's certain things that just ain't fucking okay, man. And there's a lot of things that are happening right now that just ain't fucking okay. And so, we got to follow God, and we got to follow the signs of God. We can't just go out and start taking people out and shit, because that don't solve nothing. We got to listen to God. Jesus taught us that, and we can't not take reverence to that, And so, but at the same time, we need to be really aware of guarding and protecting ourselves, because the love that we have, that's the love that's taught by Christ, is easily taken advantage of nowadays, because people really see it as a weakness. There's a lot of that energy out here. And that's what this Page of Cups has had to go through a lot of that as a youth, because that's why they're still only coming out as a Page of Cups, presenting themselves to a king. And that's okay, everybody should have a lot of confidence, but don't come in arguing with the king, like that's the thing, don't come in squabbling with them. Come in with that king of Pentacles energy that that you have inside of your heart, and offer that King of Cups of celebration, and you're gonna fucking get that fire. It's gonna be maybe not as all the glitz and glamour and all that show horse shit that we have nowadays, right? But it's gonna be something that's really gonna be the smart choice. It's gonna be the stability that gets you through the winter. This is like the grasshopper and the ants right now. You're gonna play and fuck off your chance to be stored through the winter when the times get rough, because when I was a kid, I remember watching that ant and grasshopper shit when I was at school, But we used to put scorpions on top of the anthills and everything. The ants tear apart, man. They like grasshoppers too, And so I always thought it was funny, because the ants were like, oh yeah, come on in the wintertime. But that's a funny little story right there if you think about it, because man, ants eat grasshopper, big juicy stuff. I'd probably take that straight to the queen, Probably. See, and this King of Pentacles knows this, They want to celebrate with this King of Cups over here really bad. They're hot. They're hot for this, because they don't really dig that. They see through that blackberry energy. They know that it's a lot of vines, but they know that damn good and well that this cattail energy, or they don't like the blackberry energy, but this cattail energy, this is something that they could really rely on. That King of Pentacles, that's the way a King of Pentacles thinks. They know these things. They're smart, They're not attracted to this King of Wands energy that's in the reverse. That's why they're confused about that energy existing within themselves, And we've all been there. That's growing up. But that's what's restraining them. They need to get past that childish energy of the King of Wands that you can't trust, so that they don't their emotions don't come out here like this Page of Cups, because they need to be coming out as Queen of Cups so they can match the strength, and the vulnerability and the emotional weakness, but emotional weakness and emotional strength, but the vulnerability and the openness, and the communication, because that King of Cups is requiring the King of Pentacles to be more emotional, because the King of Cups in their feminine is the King of Pentacles and wants to marry that King of Pentacles, but not with that King of Pentacles being in this flakier emotional energy of a Page of Cups, And so that's that's a big part of the conflict. But God's saying, nah, I've ordained this shit. This is what it is. Like, Whether or not you want to do my work, you're gonna fucking do my work. You're gonna do what I say, man. And that's how we roll. We roll with Most High. We roll with God. We do what God says. And if God says, hey, cut this energy out, cut that fucking energy out. That's what it is, you know? And like, I got all these energy in me. I dealt with all of these energies, you know? I mean, seriously, it's taken me a long time to get out of that King of Wands energy. And so here we got the Queen of Wands in the reverse on the Hierophant right here, right? And so this energy is the Hierophant, which is energy of Taurus, right? So that's also Taurus energy with the King of Pentacles, and it's the God energy, it's the God card, or it's the masculine counterpart of the Divine Feminine. But those two, they she's not out here right now, and so they don't sleep around like that, you know. I mean, you know, they're counterparts like that, you know, and so they're connected like that. That means like their spiritual connection, like these two, they're bound to each other in the sense of like God has ordained that you know, like, because like the counterpart of the Hierophant, right, is the High Priestess. You know, but those two, they don't even like have sex. They're divine union. You know, they're celibate. You know, they don't even have sex, right? The High Priestess is celibate. You know, and the Hierophant is celibate, right? And so, but that's because that spiritual energies, of course, with all of these energies. I mean, cards don't have sex, right? And so, but the Hierophant is also in astrology is the card of the Taurus, right? And so the King of Pentacles is as well. And so that's telling me that this King of Pentacles, see, their Hierophant energy is telling them to hold back from this upside down King of Wands energy that is in them right now, you know, that's being tempted. Like, so that's why they're sitting over here. They're like, well, what do I want? Am I this or am I that or am I that? And this Hierophant is saying, hey, you know who and what you are. And see, like the Hierophant's kind of like, the King of Pentacles is up here and the Hierophant's over here, and these guys' hand up. He's kind of like, you know, like that. And so that's that higher energy that you have in you is saying, hey, don't listen to bullshit. Like, don't. That this Queen of Wands is saying that if you want to be in with that King of Cups over there, right? That you can't come at that King of Cups energy as a Queen of Swords in the reverse. You got to cut through the bullshit. You got to be honest and real with yourself, you know. You got to be honest and real with that energy over there, that King of Cups, because that King of Cups is also, I almost guarantee you, right there, didn't he? No, but I guarantee you he could come out as King of Swords too. That's why, yeah, he got that King of Swords. He's got that Excalibur, and so definitely that King of Cups is also that King of Swords. So this King of Cups over here is trying to heal this situation, because they got their energies and these other elements and the King energy, it's grounded. So this King energy is very potentially Empress or an Emperor too, you know. But they're trying to heal some stuff here in their water, right? Because they're tired of the bullshit right here. They know that they're in a divine union, that they're on a divine path, and that they've met their Two of Cups. And so they're trying to get that secured because they want their Two of Cups, you know, which is their Two of Cups is this High Priestess energy who's coming out as the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. So this King of Cups right here, he needs to get for his Queen of Pentacles inside himself. He needs to get this King of Pentacles to see her. Because the King of Pentacles is not looking at him right now, you know. He's looking at him going like, what the fuck? Yeah, King of Pentacles is acting a little snobby. And so the King of Pentacles is going, but I'm offering you my Queen of Pentacles. I'm offering you the Queen of Pentacles. That's inside. That's my one of my feminine parts, you know. That's what makes me. I'm a whole ass fucking Empress. You're just beating me right now on my King of Cups energy because I'm trying to protect my emotions. But when you meet me in my divine being, I'm a full ass motherfucking Empress over here. I got it all, you know. And you are too, is what this King of Cups is saying, because that's why they're coming out as the Hierophant, you know. And so the High Priestess is the counterpart for this Hierophant as this King of Cups, Queen of Pentacles energy in the feminine is the counterpart of this King of Pentacles, and these are the same energy. So they're a very highly rated couple, man, and that's why the King of Wands energy of the Queen of Cups is being very protected. You know, their passions are really worth something. You know, Most High sees it. Most High really knows it. Most High's like, no, this is my Earth Angel. This is my chosen one over here. And we're going to protect them while they're strawberry because they love strawberries. Maybe goes through a little bit, figures out, you know. Maybe get their fruit bruised a little bit, and then they're going to go, hey, man. Yeah, like strawberries too. That's good. Fuck yeah, man. Strawberries fucking good, man. Yeah, see? Of course, right? No fucking around here, man. It's what it is, right? It's just what it is because, with this Hierophant energy, it's protecting this King of Cups. To realize that his High Priestess, see? Yeah, man. Like his High Priestess is he's in this, you know. See, that's Moon. He's really trying to trust that, you know. Like this King of Pentacles. I don't really think this King of Pentacles is a very good swimmer, you know, kind of. And I'm not talking like track and meet or whatever, you know, or whatever, like Olympics and shit. I'm talking like out there in the void, man, spiritual, you know. I think they swim okay. They can tread water. They know how to swim. They get in the pool, right? But I don't think they know how to really dive deep. I think they're afraid of that place I was talking about where Spirit took me, man. When I became shish, no way, no. That's in the depths, right? But see, in them waters though, that's where she goes, man. That's where she goes, you know, and that's where she goes. That where he don't, you know. There's walls around the Hierophant, you know. And they got eyes watching them, you know. And so they're a spiritual being, they're a very powerful being. But see, the Hierophant is trying to please people, man. And the Hierophant is in the order of the people, right? And so they're a little bit closer to they're that magician energy because they're trying to work with what the elements of Earth, right? And so they're bound, you know, like that a little bit. They don't dive deep, you know. They don't really swim a whole lot. Kind of like King of Pentacles, you know, they're not like this King of Pentacles that's coming out over here, right? Protecting his Queen of Pentacles energy inside himself from this King of Pentacles right now, because King of Pentacles isn't respecting the fact that they're doing God's work, see? They're over here crying about cups that are being spilled, but they're a whole ass Earth Angel that's a divine one, you know, that God's chosen and is asking them to really step up and do their work, you know, but they're like ignoring that, you know. They're trying to go out here and they're trying to play with these blackberries and these blackberry thorns, and they don't think they're going to get pricked, right? But all they're going to run into is pricks. That is definitely the way it goes, and that's why this Queen of Swords energy of this king over here is also coming out in reverse. He's really protecting his feminine energies, you know. This King of Cups is so this divine one over here in their masculine energy right now is their cups, right? And their fire. And so they're really coming out protective, you know. God's protecting their fire, their passions, that God wants to keep them alive inside. And so they're really putting them in a solid place with their emotions. God's taking care of their emotions. God's saying, I love you, you know. It was whispered in their ear saying, I love you, you know. Because they see that there's a little bit of lies going on right now, you know. And this is happening even globally because that Hierophant represents institution, you know. It represents church, you know. It could represent like legal institutions and stuff, but it's church, right? Spiritual leaders. And so a lot of people are getting confused right now, but see, you're the Hierophant in this King of Pentacles energy, and you're the divine counterpart of this High Priestess, you know? So you gotta cut through the bullshit. And that's why this card comes out on you, you know? That's that Queen of Pentacles energy. That's also in the reverse because this King's energies in his feminine, his masculine energies are solid because his masculine's solid in the upright with the water, right? And then his masculine is solid in the upright with the fire. And his Queen of Pentacles came out upside down in the deck, and she's not showing her face. And so his energy of the Queen of Pentacles, she's held back her abundance, you know, and she's holding back her openness and her stability and everything like that. She's being more protective, you know. Queen of Pentacles, she really protects her pentacle. She holds it close, like she takes care of it and she protects it, right? Whereas the King of Pentacles kind of tries to wear that shit out there on his sleeve, like it's for everybody to have a little bit sometimes, you know. Where he just likes to use that pentacle to represent his worth, you know. But the King of Cups is trying to relay a message to this King of Pentacles, saying, "Hey, we can't work with you if you don't please your Queen of Pentacles inside of it, you know, because like we're all have all these energies in us, right?" And so it's telling our Earth energy that are feminine in our Earth energy, that our reason why our business and everything hasn't been abundant, reason that she hasn't been as like warm and comforting and like that Queen of Pentacles energy that the King of Pentacles wants, is because emotionally she's not being fulfilled by this Page of Pentacles energy that the King of Pentacles tries to give her. You know, she's like, no, you're a fucking king, you know, don't send me Page energy and the emotion, give me Queen energy, like give me King energy, or like whatever, you know. Like she wants to see that the emotions of this, that her emotional counterpart and her partner is as balanced as she is, but emotionally, you know, because they could be yoked financially. It's just that there's emotional struggles, and that's why the King of Cups coming out here talking to this King of Pentacles, because that's the Queen of Pentacles is sending her emotion, and the masculine saying, "Hey man, what the fuck," you know, kind of like talk to her counterpart. If that makes any sense, it should. It does. If you're following me, it does, you know. And so that's why the High Priestess is here, because it always makes sense when the High Priestess shows up. And yeah, one more row. Here we go. So, all right, Spirit. I don't know. We get anywhere with this, Spirit? You think anybody's gonna understand what the fuck we're talking about? Yeah, see. So instead of crying over spilled milk, this King of Cups is trying to say, look, you know, this is our Ace of Pentacles, you know, within our unit. Like it's like we gotta make this emotional healing. It's like I need the King of Cups is like, hey, you need to do some emotional work here on this relationship so that your queen's happy, man. And when you do that, you're gonna get the Ace of Pentacles out of me, man. I'll pay you. You know, you're gonna get paid for that. We emotionally, you know, like the King of Cups is saying, hey, emotionally, I'll invest in this. I'll invest in this. I'll invest in you, my King of Pentacles, and then we'll be stable financially and everything. We'll get this Ace of Pentacles together, and then that Queen of Pentacles energy is gonna be happy, and she's gonna come out to play, man. But this Page of Cups energy, the emotions of this King of Pentacles is just too worried about everything. You know, they're too worried about swords, man. But there's no reason to even worry about swords right now when this King of Cups is coming in solid with that Excalibur. And that cuts all swords. That cuts everything, man. But there's something going on over here that you know, I would say with the Hierophant too, you know, because the Hierophant comes out with organizations, you know, and so there's some shit going on here where there's confusion, right? It could be overly zealous religious, it could be some weird stuff like that, you know, like outdated thinking. But they're not seeing this truth. They're not cutting that bullshit out. They're stressed out about it. They're not sleeping good at night because they want to see everything in the reverse that's being offered to them by like the king. Like the king is basically saying, the King of Cups is over here saying, look, this is what the Queen of Pentacles needs. The Queen of Pentacles needs forward movement with clarity and some temperance here. Everybody needs to chill the fuck out. And we just need to get this thing back on track, and we need to make sense, you know. But the Page is like, I don't see that's going to happen. I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. They're squabbling, right? And so that's keeping them up at night. They can't sleep, and it's holding them back from this Ace of Pentacles because the King of Cups is like, well, look, if we just turn this over. We can start over again, and we got it going on. That's an abundant blessing that's being offered to you. Yeah, the 10 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. You know, come on, man. Come on. And this person's stuck in their head because this King of Pentacles, whatever's fucking happened to their emotions when they were young, it's got them stuck in their fucking head, and they can't offer. They're afraid to offer too much to this King of Cups, which is crazy because this King of Cups is a liaison for a freaking High Priestess that is an Empress and is the Queen of Pentacles of this King of Pentacles right here, which is the same person that's that motherfucking page, man. It's just confusing, you know. It's like, why can't this work well together? You know, it's like it's celebration, like. King of Pentacles with the 6 wands and fuck three coins right there and the healing card on top, man. It's like, fuck, dude, we got this. What are you worried about? You know, it's like that's what's going on. You know, people are fucking people, right? I mean, you know, back to that 2 of wands energy, right? So this individual, these we, them, they, us, I, it, the energy. So it's like. This King of Pentacles is just so struggling right now to see this, that it's like they don't. They're convinced that the world has to offer what is it they're looking for, and they only got 2 wands, and so they don't got a whole lot of options right now. And it's like, but the world, they're like, nah, we're gonna take the risk versus what we know we have, kind of. And we don't got much to make a move, and so the move we're gonna make, we're like. We're gonna hope for the better, you know. It's like you know for damn good well what's behind door 1, but they're too tempted to find out what's behind door 2, and so they only got 2. They feel like they only got 2 wands, and they get to buy 1 ticket, right? And so they're like, well, I only get to buy 1 ticket, and I'm gonna go with what's behind door 2. But they know what the fuck is behind door 1, and they know it's working, man. And so they're in this fucked up position right here with these 2 coins, right? And that's how they look at this three, the whole situation I just said, you know? And so they're like over here going, well, nah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to sign that contract. And so I'm going to I'm going to see what I might be able to get instead of knowing what I'm going to get, right? It's like, which I guess that's the American way anymore. That's everybody's way, right? That's the biggest curse, I'd say, of being human being, yeah? That's why they're coming out in this Emperor energy in the reverse, right? And that's why the King of Cups is over here trying to tell him, man, trying to tell his Hierophant, cut this bullshit out. Like you have the higher understanding from God to see where these conflicts are being caused in your life. Like you have the higher understanding from God because you're the Hierophant, you know, and you're divine energy of this King of Pentacles, you know, like because that's why you're the match to this Empress over here. But you can't get this Emperor to sit straight in his seat. You know, so it's like your Emperor energy is being really thrown off because you're not offering the emotional healing or the emotional bandwidth and maturity that's needed by your Queen of Pentacles to feel that you guys can confidently build an empire together. You're not going to lose it over some stupid emotional shit. And so that's keeping your Emperor in the reverse, and that's why your Empress is hiding, you know? She's coming out, yeah, man. And you're bringing down towers, dude. You know, you're bringing down towers, man, but you're bringing down towers that aren't going to land on the head of your loved one that you love most dearly. It's not going to get it's never going to allow them blackberry vines to grab the ships that this cattail right here has built, man. It just won't, you know. The tower is not going to fall like that. That's why this karmic energy up here that you're in this, if you're in this King of Pentacles energy that you're fucking with over here, and that King of Wands energy in the reverse is really pissing off your Queen of Air, and your Queen of Water, or your Queen of Pentacles that love you, you know. That's why, see, the Queen of Swords already came out, and they're telling your higher self through your High Priestess that loves you. They're telling your higher self, look, man, cut this bullshit out. Like the Queen's willing to come out here and fight with this King of Cups, right? But the Queen of Cups is not out here because you guys have an emotionally healing and satisfying relationship, you know, and that's why she's staying in the deck, but in the upright position, she's like hanging out with this guy. You know, she's courtesy park with the King of Fire. You know, because God's protecting them. Because God bring this tower. This tower already came down. That's just a reminder from yesterday. It's come down already twice, both directions. You know, and so we can't keep this putting these towers down like this, and You know, this is going to turn into a Gaza Strip situation. We don't want that, right? We all know better than that. We're trying to be high. And look at this. The high priestess comes out right next to that Hierophant. And it almost pisses me off because it really makes me upset when two divine beings can't come together and do God's work, man. I mean, you know. Sorry, God. Sorry, Spirit, I mean, God says, I love you. Yeah, man. I kind of feel like that same energy we had down yesterday, but I think it was in the upright position, which a lot of this, what we've read here today, has been like that. It's been good like that, man. And so that's good. I like that. There's not a lot of easy energies here, but like what that says there is, again, like yesterday, see, when this energy came out yesterday, right? Remember? This energy came out when we didn't end on this, no. It came out with the King of Wands in the reverse and the King of Swords in the reverse is what it came out in there. Because there's, choose, and then this card, right? And you had to choose between the three energies. And so if you watched the read from yesterday, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But you had to choose between those three energies, you know? And so this High Priestess, I said yesterday, I said that this High Priestess right here, she is this energy right here. You see what I'm saying? And so yesterday then we had that energy, we had the King of Wands. That King of Wands energy, it came out in the reverse. And we've identified that as being the energy of this King of Pentacles themselves, right? And but that King of Swords is nowhere to be seen. And so that means, like, again, it's coming out as Excalibur now, right? And so there's a choice that's been made. That's what that means, you know? And the choice that was made, because these two are coming out like this again, right? So I said yesterday's High Priestess is this card right here. And if you watch that read, you'll see what I'm talking about. And that's how spirits works, man. That's how spirit does it. And so the Queen of Swords is coming out in the reverse now with this Hierophant, because that Queen of Swords is telling the truth on that King of Swords. You're seeing it. You're seeing it. You're seeing they're both in the reverse. So you see that those energies inside of you, whatever you've been thinking, is karmic thinking. Because that's your intellect, and so now your Queen of Swords is showing herself in the Queen of Swords in reverse, but on top of that Hierophant, which is you realizing that those decisions that you're making are not for you, and that's energy you want to cut out, because you're trying to balance your thinking so that you could become the divine being that you are, and then balance your energies. Because see, the Emperor is also fire, but he's coming out in reverse, the same as that King of Wands, because your thinking has your masculine energies in a kind of a perverse way right now. You know, they got you thinking with your got your head in your pants kind of a little bit, you know. But that can apply to a lot of things. It's not necessarily just dick pussy. It's like drugs, alcohol, it could be anything, you know, gambling, obsession over money. It could be just anything that you're not being passionate about the right things right now. God has delivered you to be passionate about certain things, to be this Emperor, but in the upright position, so that your Queen of your Empress could come out finally in the upright. You know, she's trying, she wants to. You know, she's the High Priestess though, and she's gonna keep operating in this energy where she's doing God's work behind the scenes, and she's out there. She has no problem hanging out with that moon energy. She has no problem being out there in the water, the void, and the deep. You know, and she hang out there all freaking day long, and she's strong because she knows what's up. God's got her, and she always knows that, and that's why she has that fifth element. But this High Priestess loves strawberries. That's just that, man. And so there's gonna be a blackberry till it becomes strawberry. So it's gotta separate that energy from it, you know. That's what they gotta do. That's why that Queen's in reverse. Anyways, everybody, it's windy again, man. But it's not raining today. It's not nasty out there and everything. So I think I got that truck whooped today. Anyhow, yeah, that's what's happening, folks. That's the weather. That's the report, man. And so I can feel like I kind of feel like just doing it, you know, just putting it out there in energy and everything. You know, it's been a new experience for me for a couple months, whatever. And I really like it. It's really helping me to understand what my gift is. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. That's a big gift. I always have been abundant. I don't really like. I'm queen of pentacles. I got a lot of that energy, and so I'm different about the coin now. And I don't hold the coin. Not chase it, or I have more of a, definitely attract, it's like, I understand that it's manifestation, especially, we attract, we have to attract, we don't chase. But as far as the coin department, I've always been that way, and so the gift that I received from you guys out here doing this, is just knowing that there's that channel works, and like, it's like fine tuning it, so it's like, working with a ham radio or whatever, and I got other people answer you, wherever. It's just like I get to work closer to Most High, because it's just like finding that rock out in my garden, That made that vision very real, and that's why I haven't really shared it like that in that detail, And that's how it is with God, So that's what we're all doing here together. So I love y'all. Thank you. Peace out, man. Fight the good war, We're winning. Fuck the beast. I'm gonna slay that motherfucker, you see. Remember, I'm Leviathan in the beginning.